YouTube. It's Brian Phillips. We're gonna open this small box right here, right now. It's gonna be awesome.
It's fragile.
It's fragile from OMP Hobby. Amazing. Excited to bring you guys this. I already know what it is. You may know from the thumbnail and clicking on the links. This is gonna be the OMP Hobby 65-inch fun stick balsa wood airplane, okay? So we're excited to be bringing you another balsa wood airplane, and this one should leave nothing to be desired. It is in the plug and play finish, and we got ours in red. There's also a green, so before I get too far ahead of myself, here's what the green looks like.
Yes, okay.
Because you guys are gonna see the red here on Brian Phillips RC. So, super excited. If you don't know what OMP stands for, it stands for Ohio Model Products. And we have worked with OMP for quite some time, and we're excited to be bringing you this. I don't know if this is gonna slide out the way I want.
Oh.
I don't know. Look at the end, show them.
Cut both ends.
That end, the open end.
Oh, it's one of the, yeah.
I'm thinking I might.
No, it's gonna go.
Okay. Now there may be a receiver in here too, because I'm expecting to see a receiver in here, and we'll see how that goes too. You can just let go.
Okay.
You can let go. I just don't want to drop anything because I don't know which side is up on this. Okay, there we go. So here it goes. Guys, part of the unbox is to help you guys understand if there's going to be adequate protection for your product that's come halfway across the world or all the way around the world, depending on where you're getting it from. And so far, this thing feels like it's a crate.
Yeah, it looks like
it's a little
crate.
awkward to hold on to because there's nothing to grab.
We'll be happy
it's
to
all
help.
smooth. How about that?
There you go.
There we go. So I'm gonna just lay it down there, and I just don't want it to drop. You don't need help.
Okay.
Just stay back. All right. That's what I was afraid of. Okay. So here's a receiver. All right, so this is a DSMP 7-channel telemetry stabilizer XT60 equipped meter. So that's a power meter and a Lemon RX receiver. So not 100% sure if that's gonna be what we use or not, but we are gonna get back to it. And then of course, sometimes we get packing information on here. So I'm gonna just take a second and get that out of here. And we'll come right back to you. I want to put this out of the way so we don't damage something though.
Okay.
So some of these different manufacturers pack their planes with different types of material. And since it's a balsa wood plane, we're not surprised to see a little bit different packing. A lot of the current stuff is all packed up in foam. And so I'm just not 100% sure how this thing's gonna come apart. And sometimes they're taped to each of the surfaces. So I want to be super careful how I open this, and you'll be able to learn any lessons that I learned from watching us do it. That doesn't feel like it's going to release. Gosh, it'd be nice if I had a better idea of how to open this.
I would have, because only that side up is taped.
What now?
The bottom part is not taped. So I'm assuming you're correct in the untaping of the top part.
I guess we'll find out. I'm just trying to do this carefully because I don't want to damage the thing. So here on Brian Phillips RC, we're going to show you the entire painstaking process, and hopefully it's not too painstaking. Feels like it's glued.
That's a lot of tape or something.
It is. And so when we say the whole painstaking process, we mean open the box all the way to flying airplane, which you probably have already seen the flying airplane on our maiden flight video. Man, I do not know if I'm doing this right. I feel dumb. Just quiet and listen. Nerve-wracking. Because I just don't want something to pop out that's going to get damaged.
Right.
Okay, I got a little deeper penetration on my blade this time. Okay, I've got an edge. Man, I wish I'd make this a little bit more clear. Okay, all right. I got an edge popped. Now that I have an edge popped, I can lift. Warn me if you see anything.
I'm watching. Looks good so far. It doesn't look like it's attached to anything.
Okay, yep,
There we
okay,
go.
so we're good.
Okay.
Woo! That was kind of scary. Look at this stuff.
Oh, good.
Like you make a shelf out of it.
Can we keep that for?
Yes.
Great.
Absolutely, I'm glad you suggested it. Okay, so as you can see, we've got some decals or something here. Yeah, it looks like some Buddy RC stickers, and it looks like OMP stickers and Sunny Side, or Sunny Sky rather, stickers. And so, like I said, they're just taped onto the box, so you gotta be a little bit careful how this goes. So if you guys are brand new to Brian Phillips RC, our approach on this is we want you to have almost no ambiguity when you order a new model, because we're gonna show you the entire process of something. If no stone will be left unturned.
No.
Feel how heavy this is.
Oh, you scared me. That's really light. That's crazy.
Yep. Okay, so we're just gonna open the first one. There's gonna be obviously 2 wings like this, and
It's like heavy plastic.
yeah, real heavy. Oh yeah.
Wow.
This is so light, guys. It weighs like
really
nothing.
pretty. It does.
It's really cool. And huge surfaces. 1 servo cable, so there's only an outboard aileron, but it's kind of like in outboard. And then there is a protective, geez, that's a big servo.
No kidding.
You're blocking my light. This is an
Okay.
SG7 1507 from OMP Hobby. And ball link bottom, ball link outside, okay? So we're gonna see how this goes and keep going with it. But guys, it's hard to explain this on video, but this thing weighs like nothing.
I know.
It's like half as heavy as a foam plane wing. That's crazy. So that means if it's very light and it's very powerful, that means you're gonna have a lot of power to weight ratio, and that means crazy performance. So we're gonna see if this plane comes through the way we expect it to. We're gonna keep going. I'm probably gonna have my hand forced on the order of attack though, just for the simple fact that I don't wanna damage things coming out of the packaging. I can untape it as we go, or I can cut it. And it looks like we're gonna just cut it. So yeah, if you guys haven't figured out, we work with Buddy RC when it comes to OMP products. Long time ago, we worked direct with OMP, and that just sort of like abruptly stopped for no apparent reason. And Buddy has been awesome, so we've been really happy with that. We see them at Joe and All every year.
Yep.
When we're there, which is super nice. You get to hang out with those guys and enjoy their company. You get to see Clay and others. All right, I'm gonna come back out here.
Okay.
I'm having visions about dropping these.
I'm nervous about this tape down here not getting stuck to the.
Well, it's not gonna hurt it if it gets stuck to the
Okay.
surface underneath. I'm more worried about sharp stuff at the bottom.
Okay.
All right, so here we go, guys. Just make sure there's no damage. Okay, so everything feels really dang good, which I don't know if you guys can see the ribs,
Yeah.
but the decals, look,
So
that's
pretty.
that's not decals. That must be like ultra coat or something. I don't know what coating this is, full disclosure, but it feels like it's pretty high quality. It might be some Chinese variety. I have no idea. All I know is it feels good. Oh, and then I didn't point this out on the other wing, but I probably should have. This is a thumb nut or bolt. And this is gonna be how we put it together inside of the fuse. Show them a close up of that. See how it's threaded? So when we put this together, there's a pin back here, and then there'll be a wing joiner in the middle. So we're gonna see how this goes. So far, so good. Very easy packing or unpacking, but just a little bit hard to open the box. So mostly because I didn't know what I was gonna see inside of it. Now you guys have seen us do it. Should be a relatively easy process.
Well, it's a nice big strong box too.
Yeah, but a big strong box that you don't know where to open is a little awkward. So these are the landing gear, and they feel like they're carbon fiber, which is sweet if they are. Okay, so wrapped up really nicely. Kind of awkward to untape though. I do not want to go through and strike the the edge of the carbon fiber. I feel like scissors might help me on this.
Okay.
So far, utility knife and scissors is all we're using. There will be some more tools for this build than an average foamy, I believe.
Right. Maybe.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, so let's cut this open. No, that's just steel. Okay. Looked black, so I was like, maybe it's carbon fiber.
This is available in an ARF too.
Yeah, you can get it as an ARF if you want the extra headaches and want to provide your own electronics. Full disclosure, the receiver doesn't come with it. That's a separate item, but you can get that from the links in the video description below. We will link to it, even if we end up using a Spectrum receiver. Talked with Clay about that at the beginning, and I just said it just kind of depends on what we do with the plane, how we set it up. Because Lemon makes a pretty nice receiver, but we just haven't done very many of them. Okay. So we have this weird offset thingy here, bushing sort of thing. Soft tires, not super soft, but softer than rock hard. They're not sharpening any diamonds with it, like some of the FMS items we've seen lately. I don't really understand why that is. Like, how hard is it to put a soft tire on?
Right.
Granted, I think the people are concerned that when you have them sitting on a table like this F7F, that the tire will eventually get a deflection in it. And that may be true, but I'm not real worried about it. Okay. So this feels like aluminum, not steel. Okay. You can hear because it's lighter. Okay. So just put that over here for now. And so far, so good. There's been no issues with packaging. Everything has come out unscathed. Like I said, the only thing scathed was my pride because I had to figure out how to open the box. Okay. All right, so this box has a few zip ties in it, it looks like, or this package rather, not box. Okay, what do we have in here? We got Velcro for the battery, tail wheel assembly, a couple of zip ties, looks like some spares.
Yeah, extra hardware.
Okay, and then this, is that a spinner?
Looks like it.
Kind of weird.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll put this stuff aside. Obviously, we only have the one landing gear, so we'll be using that. But then the spare hardware, that's unusual that we would get spare hardware.
It's nice that it's labeled.
Yeah, otherwise you'd be sitting there thinking, what did I miss?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so continuing, as you can see, we've got the fuse and the horizontal stabilizer, and it looks like a wing joiner here, and the vertical stabilizer. Or the remaining, it'd be the rudder portion of the vertical stabilizer, to be clear. All right. Trying to decide how I want to do this, because sometimes we put them back in the box, sometimes we don't. Generally, we don't. Okay, so we got a horizontal stabilizer and elevator here. So let's unpack this. Pretty straightforward box situation. It's just not foam. And we do tend to see that a little bit more with balsa wood airplanes because they just have a little bit more strength and resiliency to them. Looks like these hinges are not just pinch hinges, but it's kind of hard to tell what they've done with it. I can't tell if they added like a CA hinge in there. Sometimes you have to pull on them to make sure they're not going to come out. But it feels like it's all glued together and ready to rock and roll. So that's nice. Carbon fiber. Or that could be a fiberglass wafer. Not 100% sure, but that's a nice, strong, and stiff horizontal stabilizer. So that's good. That'll be good for aerodynamics. Now there's something else in here. What the heck is this? Oh, it's a prop. There's a prop in here, and looks like the wing spar, wing joiner. Sometimes I call them wing joiners. And it's actually a wing spar. It looks like we've got a prop here and some decals or something. I think that's, oh yeah, more decals. Okay, so the prop size is 14.8E, okay? And I'm guessing that some of you are gonna wanna do this as a gasser, but I don't know anything about that, so I can't tell you what to do or what size would be recommended, any of that. But if it is possible, there's a high probability that you'll be getting the ARF in that case, because you're not gonna get a plug-in fly and throw away half the components unless you're really dumb. I'm just gonna cut this open because the packaging is damaged a little bit.
Okay.
I don't wanna lose stuff. Show them this. What is that thing? Looks like a spacer collar. Man, look at this prop. It's got this weird like buildup on the side.
Mm-hmm. It can actually, oh yeah, you can feel it.
I can't tell if that's like how they balance it or what.
That's strange.
But it looks super nice, whatever
Big prop.
it is. Yeah, it's a big prop. Okay, so we're gonna take this. We're gonna actually put the decals right with the other decals over here. Okay, continuing along, we can throw out this packaging into the pile of packaging. I want to get this wing spar out of here next. Okay, so this thing's wrapped up pretty good, so. Carbon fiber?
That is a big wing spar.
Yeah, carbon fiber. Look at that, it's
Goodness.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't want to get that stuff on me. But you can see, it's definitely carbon fiber, so that's sweet. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and slide it into one side of the wing, because there's no sense in getting that dust on me, if there is any. That stuff will be itchy, itchy, itchy. So try to minimize as much as I can minimize it, the touching of that rod. Okay, so we'll just lay that down. Didn't seem to come off on me too much. I threw away that packaging, hon. You'll be proud of me. I gotta get that stuff too.
That's what happens when you. Is there another one
This
more little
knife.
package in there?
This knife is getting dull. I'm having a real heck of a time cutting this stuff. Start with the sharp blade, guys.
Had a hard life.
It has. All right, so this is the rudder portion of the vertical stabilizer and rudder, of course. And it looks like it does have an opening. Some of these things are like heat sealed shut. You can get to it, but just trying to kind of play it safe right now. If you pull hard enough, you can actually break stuff, but
Yeah.
well, at least I'm strong enough to break stuff. I'm not 100% sure if you would do that or not. I love that sound. It's so nice. High quality build. And guys, if you didn't already notice this, you can see right through it if you're looking close, okay? But then it's a nice opaque finish if the light is in front of it. Okay, so this is gonna have to get glued, okay, which we already knew about. We knew there was a possibility. We had discussed that a little bit with the guys at OMP, or Buddy in this case. All right, so now the fuse. Easiest way to do this, let's see if we can figure this out. I'm not trying to block your view, camera crew. You may have to move your body if you want to see what's going on, but I don't know exactly where to tell you to go. Pull this out maybe. I'm just trying to do it in such a way that I don't break the fuse on the way out. That would be a big bummer. Good packaging though. I was nervous. I'm always nervous about this type of packaging. We've had kind of mixed luck with it. Most of the planes we've got like this have been okay, but it just always seems like it makes me nervous because, you know, I have had very few planes that come damaged in foam packaging, but we did have one the other day that was damaged a little bit.
We did.
Remember?
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
But it was super minor. Still annoying. I'd been pissed. It's an expensive plane, you know?
Right.
This is expensive too. Grab the tail, just the plastic, gently.
I'm just gonna hold.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're good. Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. There's your sunny sky. 880 kV. It's a 3525 4. Sunny Sky motor. It's all mounted for us. We don't have to do anything there. And yeah, that is a spinner, by the way, that we saw earlier. And then protection all around stuff. This build is going to be pretty easy, guys. It's not going to take too many steps at all because there's just not that many pieces.
Right.
I like a low piece count build because we build a lot of planes and we don't like the process of putting together a lot of pieces. Some of you may love that, and so we don't mean to take anything away from you. If you're into that sort of thing, we mean you no disrespect when we say we don't like it. I don't like the process of building any more than I have to because I love the process of flying and I just want to get to it as soon as possible. That's why we do it in the middle of the night. So we've had terrible weather around here in Iowa because the wind has been crazy. And so it's been really limiting on our ability to film flights. And so we're hoping we get this thing up in the next day or two. But let's keep on taping it. I don't know if you guys have that. Oh, really nice. Thin.
Nice. Yeah.
Thin though. I don't like how thin that is. Heavy duty strap. Okay, XT60, big lead for an XT60. That's fine. Big heavy duty strap, should be easy to work with. That's nice. I'm assuming this will fly on 6S, but I don't really know actually. We'll have to find out here shortly. And then they have an access hatch here that's gonna get you to where you would put in your receiver.
Nice.
And everything is taped together, which is super nice. This is gonna be a really easy build. Okay?
Really clean.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Carbon fiber, look. Carbon fiber wing. See that?
Yeah.
Look right there. Look right there. All the epoxy. It's all joined together nicely. Beautiful. And then there's a tube where all the wires go back.
Nice.
So they built in some serviceability. Unfortunately for me, the only time I need to work on OMP hobby airplanes is when I crash them into snowbanks.
Right. The serviceability kind of goes out the window there.
It does. Or it's not needed because the only time I crash them is when I need to work on them, rather. Okay, so it looks like the same 1507 that we saw earlier. So now this isn't going to need to be hooked up until we get the horizontal stabilizer or the rudder. I don't know which one. It looks like that's probably going to be for the rudder, but I'm not certain. And we'll flip this back over. We'll look at the other side. Now this thing has a little bit of weight to it because it's got the motor ESC, but everything else is just incredibly light. Not sub 250 light or anything, guys. Don't hear me wrong. This is definitely going to be more than sub 250. Okay, so these are super nice ball links. Brass, black anodized, it looks like screws, high grade. Just second to none, just beautiful finish on all this. Okay, very nice, very nice. And it looks like you can screw it all together on the bottom here. Look at this. See that?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So I think our next move is gonna be to pick up the pieces and just get our plane stand out, so we'll be right back. All right, so we got all of the packaging picked up and we're gonna assemble this thing right now. It's gonna take like 3 minutes. So, times Brian Phillips RC. 2.5 millimeter drive. We're gonna start with the tail. So now I think you can glue this if you want, but I'm not gonna glue it. I'm just gonna screw it together. Hope for the best. Or should we glue it?
I would just screw it.
Okay. Sounds like a personal problem.
It's called a fun stick.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this on first, okay? Just like this. And you'll notice that the control surface goes up, okay? But I also want you to think about this. At some point here, we're gonna have to put our tail wheel on, okay? So it's gonna pass through here probably before we have to mount that rudder. And so we're gonna see how this goes. The thing that's nice about this is if you don't glue it, yeah, you can take it back apart. And if you have to store it, you can take it back apart. But if you want the strongest build, you're gonna wanna basically glue it on there, okay? Let's see how this goes. If there's any issues with strength, then we can always go back and glue it later too. The other thing is, that feels pretty good for lateral stability. That's really all I care about. Why don't you go to the other side? All right, so the next move is gonna be putting this on And you can tell because it's opposite the size of the control surface here, okay? So this one's gonna come out this side. So I'm gonna flip this right side up. And of course, we're just using this plain stand. If you guys ever seen any tools that we use on this channel and you wanna get some for your very own, we have links to all this stuff in our videos. And you know what I just did there? Look at that.
Yeah. Are you sure that's supposed to be up and not down?
I'm not at all, actually. Now that I just said that out loud, I'm like, wow, I feel like such an idiot. That is totally supposed to go down.
Well, I thought you knew some magical thing that I was like, how did you know that?
No, I just assumed because everything was hanging low. It was just a dumb assumption. So
Good thing we didn't glue it.
Well, but hold on a second. Let's think about this for a second. I am going to have to put this in that way. So if I put this in that way.
Wait, flip it back over. I can't do it upside down.
No, what I'm trying to say is if I put it on the other way, look. Oh, by the way, we tried to download the manual. The download link didn't work. So we're gonna talk to the people. By the time you guys are seeing this video, it should be fixed. But as you can see right here, this being on top would not work on this side, but it might on that side. But see, here's the thing. If this goes underneath, then that's gonna flip to the opposite side.
Okay, where does this go?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's gonna go on this side. So how could they be on the same side? They're not gonna be on the same side. That's not possible. This is the right side.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, yeah, that can only go one way.
There's no doubt about it.
Right.
That's 100% for sure going there.
So does that servo arm just need to be moved before we put that piece on? Should it just have been actuated up?
No, I don't think it's right. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if it's wrong. I think it's wrong. Because look at this. If this would, okay, let me just do this. I want to, just for grins, it's a good thing we didn't glue it, right?
Right, that's what I said.
See, here on Brian Phillips RC, we make the mistakes and look like idiots so you don't have to.
And if you say we should have read the manual first, we don't have one.
We don't have
so
one.
So don't say that this time.
We tried.
We have to just guess and check.
We actually tried.
We did.
Okay, so if this is here, then this is gonna be on this side, okay? Which is hunky-dory. So that's gonna agree, but look where the servo is, hon.
Right. It's
on the wrong side then.
okay, so that's not right.
So, I mean, I'm pretty sure it doesn't go this way.
I'm pretty sure. I know it doesn't go that way.
Let's call Nate and ask him.
Yeah.
So is this wrong? Is this built backward? Or is there something we're doing wrong?
Okay, so put it back on the way you had it to start with.
The way I had it to start with was going up.
So, but what I'm saying is, did this just get bumped and the control horn is supposed to be...
Because that's not hooked up.
There?
Yeah, I mean, I know you hate doing that.
That's kind of, it's mean to servos. So, all right, we're gonna answer your question right now, camera crew. If you don't already have one of these tools, you're gonna eventually get one, so you might as well get one right now because you're gonna need it for this test. XBC battery checker, or checker. XBC checker, I always call it a battery checker, but it's a checker, okay? So there's two servos here. We're gonna turn this into a servo tester, and we're gonna test to see where the home position is.
Okay.
That's gonna answer a question, and that should get things in the right proportion, okay? But we just don't want anything to damage itself, so I'm gonna get these linkages so that they're safe, they're not gonna damage anything. If they would spring to life and like spin 200 degrees around.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna pop this lid off. If you guys don't already know how to do this, you're gonna learn how to do it on Brian Phillips RC, because that's what we do. Here on Brian Phillips RC, we take you from start to finish, 0 to hero. Because here's the thing, if you don't know what you're doing and you try to do it and you make a mistake, that can be very expensive. So you can watch me do it instead. So click, and this is a servo tester. Now, this is gonna put negative is to my left hand. How do I know that? Okay, look, you were correct, watch. Perfect. Perfect. So that's the center.
Love it, I'm right.
Now I'm gonna disconnect this and I'm gonna plug in the other one. I know that both of these go to the back. How do I know? Because I followed these wires and there's only orange, red, and brown. Point the camera so they can see. They go back, and then the red, black, and white goes forward, which should go to the ESC. And then the wings are gonna come in with whatever they are, which happen to be
the yellow, orange,
yep, Hextronics color code. Yep. So that's Hextronics, and then Futaba color code up front, or Hextronics JR. All right. So now,
Okay, so back to step one.
hypothetically,
Right.
Now,
You were right, but I was also right. Like the first time ever.
we'll see. I'm still a little bit
You're
concerned.
still concerned?
I have some concerns.
Okay.
My concerns are, this is a really high quality plane. I would be amazed if it was built wrong. So I'm just hoping everything buttons up. And like you said, it was just somebody had it in wrong. The other thing too, admittedly, if this level of plane, I would like to see a backer here, like a piece of material that would go down and receive the head of the screw, which this is really nice, high quality screws. I mean, super, super nice and beautiful nut zerts. So everything is aligned. It's not like you have any issues with jigging, but you're crushing balsa wood. I would like to crush something with an even bigger surface bite. Okay, so I'm gonna tip the plane back so that the surfaces hang low in the correct direction. Then I'll put it upright, okay? Now you can see this will basically go to the correct position. How do we know that's the correct position? Because we just ran it to the center and look how
Center
perfect
servos.
this is. Beautiful,
Nice.
okay? So our next move is basically take this nut off, which means we need to hold that and brace it. Probably not gonna be 2.5, so camera crew is gonna slide that over to me. And we're gonna fully assemble the elevator before we even worry about the rudder. Why? Because it's gonna be a lot easier to do whilst this is not
Not
mounted.
in the way. Okay. Yep.
Which way does it go?
Not that way. Not that way.
Okay,
I'm learning.
I'm just kidding. I definitely was nervous there
That
for a
was just
second. I'm
weird
like,
for a
wait a
second,
second, that
yeah.
does not make sense. Okay, so we're gonna put this in, and yep, that works. And then I'm gonna get, oh man, I don't know what size this is. 5 millimeters? Nope. 4 millimeters maybe? Maybe, yeah. Okay, so 4 millimeters is the ticket. Okay, so I've got 1.5 millimeters here, and then 4 millimeters on the nut.
And you can find those on the supplies tab on Brian Phillips RC.
Yep, that's right. And we got them as a gift from one of our supporters. And so we really appreciate you guys. By the way, if you're one of our longtime supporters on Patreon or PayPal, or YouTube members, or YouTube Super Thanker, we appreciate you and want to thank you for having done the things that you did to help support us at the time that you chose to support us. All of those gifts add up to Brian spends money on crazy things that he shouldn't. So thank you.
Hey, that's down now though.
I know. I moved
okay.
it, but nobody cares.
Oh, you
'Cause it was
moved
in the
this.
home position when I sized
Okay.
when I positioned it.
You moved the control.
I don't
arm.
care where it is now. I just wanted to make sure it's going to be about centered.
Okay.
Okay. This one's also centered. I haven't applied any load to it yet, so I just want to make sure that when we glue this in, okay. First of all, this is dry fit. Dry fit, guys. Dry fit. Dry fit. Okay. Is this a dry fit, camera crew?
Yes.
It's a dry fit.
It is a dry fit.
Okay.
Dry fits
So
are
I'm going to
usually-
make sure that I have full movement, because sometimes when you push these tight,
Yeah.
they don't always give you full movement. So move it. Take note of the gap that opens up, and it looks like we're seeing about a millimeter gap. Okay. So I'm going to try to mimic that. Then this, yep, again, it's going to be lined up darn near perfect. But, this is a big but. We have to get our landing gear in first. Okay.
Okay.
So this package of goodies right here, if you could just read that to the people at home.
It says hardware for 65-inch fun stick tail wheel.
Liar.
No, it didn't.
When did you learn Chinese?
Oh, I should learn Chinese.
Yeah, it would make life easier for us.
It would.
If you could just get started on that,
I'll
I'd
work in
appreciate
my
it.
free time. I'll work on that.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so we have a singular screw here, and we have a singular landing wheel.
That's
Okay?
quite the bag there. It's so cute.
All right, so this needs to go. This is probably going to be the bottom support. This is going to go into the rudder. But then how does it set its position? Oh, that's carbon fiber. Wow. So how does this work? This would be nice to have a manual for this step. I am going to take the plane and I'm going to lay it down on the table here, or the counter in this case, in our case. I'm actually going to flip it over. Flip it
Remember
back to
your
where it
rudder
was.
is only dry fit in there.
Yes, it is only dry fit, and that's intentional.
Okay.
Okay. But I just can't see good enough to tell what I want to do. Because here's the thing, think about it. This is gonna set the stage for where the gear moves. This is gonna set the stage for how it's held in.
Okay.
So it's almost got me wondering, does this go into that screw? Yes, it does. I bet that's the way that goes. So this is gonna rock down and in, just like this, okay? This is coming off, laying off to the side. I'm gonna roll this up. That's gonna drop down. And then, I'm gonna take that screw out, 2.5 millimeters, all 2.5 millimeter drive sized, worth of it. Okay, that's out. Then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna set it into the front hole. All right, so that's gonna hold it down. Remember how I wish they had a bigger thing? Mm-hmm. Yep, I got my wish. Now this is going to be centered wherever it's centered. And then guess what this screw is gonna do? What's it gonna do, camera crew?
What is it gonna do?
What do you think it's gonna do? Tell the people at home. Look at the machine. Okay.
Sorry.
I'll tell people.
You'll have to tell the people.
1.5 millimeter drive. It's gonna go right here.
Oh, that's it? It's that easy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Won't seem too easy.
I don't
So
disagree.
that just keeps it from walking back and forth.
Yeah. Now, if
Okay.
you want the best outcome, you're gonna take that back out, put CA on your screw, put it in the hole, pull the screw out, let the CA set up, put the screw back in. Then you have a lined hole. I don't always do the best thing, but that's the correct, I think, best practice, okay?
Okay.
So now that we have that physically installed, you can see it, it just swings around, okay?
Okay.
So now my big question becomes, that is where that goes, okay? Then,
Does it go into there somewhere?
yep, it does. There should be a hole right there, and there is.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So now this, I want to just get that set. Okay, we're going to find out what size this hole is right now. Nope, not 2.5. This shaft is super, super close, okay? So I'm going to just get the start. I'm going to just start the hole, okay?
Oh.
So the hole started. I didn't go all the way full penetration there. Okay, I'm going to lift this up. This is going to be awkward as all get out. Oh, there it goes.
It's gonna be really awkward with glue on there.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing this
Hinges.
dry. Doing it dry.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So then I'm pulling this up to where I think I want it, and then I'm gonna look at the assembly, and you'll note that it's got perfect clearances. So that's pretty sweet.
And that kind of gives you a super nice gap with that rod in there, right?
No, it's actually supposed to be tucked in tight,
Two more.
like that. See how it's tucked in tight now? Mm-hmm. Now I can open this back up. And it's moving the tail wheel. So that should be pretty good.
Cool.
Okay, so two options. We can CA this or we can do something else. We're gonna CA it, okay?
Yeah.
So CA, but I wanna see if I can get that lined up. See, it's kind of low. You guys see that?
Yes.
0.5 millimeter low, and then show from the top. It doesn't look like it's perfectly centered. Looks like it's off to that side, to the right side. Is that in my head?
A little. It's just a little bit off, but no.
But it is? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's not just in my head. Okay, well that makes me feel better then. That's a lot of throw, good Lord.
Yeah, it is.
I like it though. All right, so these are the steps that I don't like in building because you kind of get one shot to get it right, and if you get it wrong, it could potentially make your plane suck bad. So we're gonna try to get it right. Okay, so different choices. I have thin CA, but this is foam safe, okay?
Okay.
That would probably be the best application, even though it's foam safe. It doesn't necessarily deter from its capability. It just happens to be odorless. This is medium foam safe, so we wouldn't use that because it's identical to this, only costs like 3 times as much, okay? So this would probably be fine too, but it's not gonna get as deep into the joint, okay? The reason I like this is that I can wick this into the joint, okay? Whereas this, I glue it and then slide it in and it just like poops it all out, okay?
Right.
So there's a trick. You'll notice there's a little detent in here, and this is not detented. That's because I don't cut the tip on the thinnest stuff. I use my crappiest, cheapest, and most readily accessible so I can keep the tip clean, okay? So what I do when I'm working with this stuff is I take the cap off like this, and then I take, and I'll just carefully and just temporarily switch caps, okay? This is the way I do it. Now you don't have to do it this way, but you can do it like me if you want to be able to have good results like I've had. I haven't always had great results with this because I haven't always done this. My cap is not coming off, so I'll show you what I got to do to get the cap off. This is my style, and partly because I don't do a ton of work with CA, my CA will dry a little bit. Now, China glue is nice for foamies because you don't have to worry about this. Okay, so I'm just gonna come around here, bite it with the pliers, get it started, and then it should be good to go, okay? Now keep in mind, this is CA. It will eventually set up if you like leave it exposed to air for a long time, so I'm not gonna leave it exposed to air for a long time. I'm gonna cap it right away. But it's not like you can't open the thing, okay? So now this will be ready to use, and then this will be ready to swap back as soon as we're done, okay? So you see this? That's just a quick and dirty way of saving your tips, okay? That's good enough for now. So now I come over here, I get this tight all the way down. Now this stuff runs like a bear cat, so you better be prepared for it. And when I say prepared for it, I mean 2 paper towels, 1 for your wife's counter, 1 for the plane.
Okay.
Okay. And I just say that seriously because this goes quick.
Right.
We use this stuff, okay? So I'm gonna set it something like this if we can get away with it. I'll let the motor rest on the edge. I'm gonna set the stage by getting everything prepped so it's easy as possible and you make the least amount of mess possible, okay? So just wiggling, I've quadruple checked all my fitments, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this to the left and to the right, and I wanna make sure that I'm satisfied with it. And you see how it pulls out the hinge? I wanna make sure that when I pull this over, I wanna be able to get what I want out of it. And it looks like it wants to be out just a hair, like that, okay? I'm gonna try to pull it up, and that's about what I'm gonna get out of it. Okay, I'm not gonna fight it, I'm just gonna let that be what we get, right? And then I'm gonna go in here like this, and this is gonna wick into the joint. I'm gonna actually rotate this. Camera crew is gonna have to work with me on this. And here goes nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're done. For now, we're gonna take and we're gonna wipe the tip. We're not gonna mess around. Now watch, look at that. Do you see any CA left over?
Nope.
Okay, good. Now we're gonna flip the plane. Now I'm not saying you have to do it this way, it's just the way we're doing it today, okay? Now we're gonna come in here and we're gonna do the same thing. 1, 2, oop, that didn't get into the joint. 2, 3, 4, okay? You see how easy that is when you use the right tool for the job? Every 6 or 7 years I use the right tool for the job.
Gotcha.
But all the rest of the time, I try to use what's convenient. Now I'm gonna squeeze the air up, put the cap back on, swap them around, okay? If you guys ever need CAs, follow the links in our video description below to supplies. You can also go to brianphillipsrc.com and you can find links to the correct and appropriate vendors that sell what we like. Now that's not to beat up Buddy RC if they sell a different brand, or Horizon or Spectrum or whoever you happen to be buying from, FMS. Doesn't matter to us where you buy it, but we do have preferences on brands and types of products, okay? So you'll notice this is back to being the one that's open. This is back to having the air out of it and good to go for a while. And by the way, these bigger bottles, these 2-ounce bottles, are pretty expensive. So I'm usually pretty careful with them. The other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna immediately come back over and I'm just gonna touch the edge, make sure I don't have any extra CA. I'm gonna carefully flip it. I'm gonna check the other side. No runs, no drips. I'm gonna put it back on the plane stand and then I'll work it. I don't see anything moving. I don't see it pulling out. And that is a very smooth action, folks.
Looks really nice.
Yes, it does. Okay. So I'm confident that that's either set up to the extent that it's good, and I'm not going to use kicker unless I have to. Kicker or Instaset would be nice in an application like this because you know it's set, but that might stop and slow the wicking process. So let it wick, let it work. We're not going to be flying this because it's dark anyway.
A little bit dark.
Okay.
Yep.
So our next move is pretty easy. We're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing we did with the elevator. This time we're going to have to give this half a turn. Okay. Either up or down. In my case, I'm going to go ahead and go whichever way seems more appropriate. It seems like it's going to go on top easier. So I'm going to give it a little half turn, or quarter turn actually is what that is. And then that's going to line up or it's not, and we're going to find out right now. I'm just going to go with it's close enough to centered that I'm not going to actually tempt fade. Okay. It's maybe not perfect. You realize I have to be able to see because I'm trying to build. It's maybe not perfect right here, but we're going to find out real quick. In fact, I've got the XBC right here. Why don't we just center it while we do it?
Just make sure.
Not again. We're just going to center it as we work, because then if I bump it while I'm working, which I will. Okay, so the other one. Okay, so I have that in the centered position right now. Okay, so that's the centered position. So we're just going to carefully work with this now. If that's centered, then we should expect it to be actually centered. Okay, so all I have to do is just kind of line that up, and I can tell it's actually probably pulling it just a hair. So I got to go out. Let's go out. I need something to hold this with. How about these pliers that I grabbed? So just grab the shaft. 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters. Okay, now we're going to see if that does it. Nope. 1 more, 2 more, 3 more, 4 more quarters. Lining that up. Nope. 1 more, 2 more, 3 more quarters. That's got to be getting pretty dang close, guys. Okay, so in order to do this, I have to lift this up so I can unscrew the nut. 1.5 millimeters, just like before. We'll just do it until it comes off. Okay, so it's off now. Now I can drop this down and through the assembly. Now I can confirm my positioning. That is really dang close, guys.
Yeah, it's
really close. Okay, so now, because I can't put my driver on there, I'm gonna have to hold this with something. So I'm gonna try to hold it with, goodness gracious, really hard to show this because it's so small. Okay, so I'm gonna hold it like that. I'm gonna hold it really tight so it doesn't drop. I'm gonna come in here with my 1.5 millimeter drive. I'm just gonna get that started. Now that's like a nylock, so nice and tight, like a toiga. Hold it with 2 hands so you don't drop it into that film because you will damage that film. Okay, so 2.5 back, 1.5 back, and 4 millimeters back. The cool thing is we can actually test the surface right now. Okay, so I'm gonna just double click. Good? Mm-hmm. Come on. There we go. I'm gonna go through a sweep. Beautiful.
Nice.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and stop that test, take it back to the center, and then we'll unplug the battery tester. So if you guys, or the XBC checker. So the double click, or double click like that. I was having trouble getting the double click to work. So we can unplug this now. And the next move I would say is put the landing gear on.
Sure.
Because then we won't be reaching where the wings will be in our way.
Yes.
Okay. So I have to assume we're probably 2.5 millimeters on this set. Okay, so we got that flipped over. This is going to be a super easy build, folks.
It really is.
Like really, really easy.
And you're a little past your 3.5 minutes, but you're close.
Oh, this is 2. By the way, what's this? Let's show the people. Since there's only 2 screws.
Okay.
2 millimeters right here. This must be where the motor is, or would be. Okay, so 1, 2. Okay, screwdriver is going to go in next to the nutsert to lift it. All right, so here we go, guys. Check it out. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Easy access, serviceable, very thin cover for what it's worth. It's nice to see when you get
magnetic, or did that just pop down in there nicely?
I don't know. I don't know if it would really, to be honest, make a difference because it's going to be screwed in anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think they would do
That would seem
expensive
unnecessary.
magnets. Magnets would add weight too. We could also put the prop on here if we wanted. But if you needed to switch to your leads, you could do that there too, which is kind of cool. All right, so 2 millimeters, we're going to back off all 3 of these screws. Easy process, folks. So OMP hobby, we've built, I think we've done like pretty much all of them, but the Bighorn, right? We did the Challenger.
We've done the Bushmaster.
Bushmaster. Trying to think of what else we've done. It's been a while. I mean, they used to have like an S4 and an A4, I think they called them, like little foamies. They were both fun. Of course, we work with Buddy on the M7 or the M4 and the M4 Plus,
Max.
right? Max, there you go. And so all of which are amazing, way more helicopter than I can honestly handle because I'm not good enough to showcase its real capabilities. But there is something about some of these new helis, man, they are so good.
They have the M7 now.
Yeah, and Clay is an amazing pilot. He can fly upside down, inside out, anywhere.
Yep.
And that's not me. I can't do that. And then what's his name? Mr. Mullet.
Rick.
Mr. Rick and his mullet.
Yep.
One of the best pilots in the world, too.
Yeah. Amazing.
Okay, guys. He almost let me crash his M7.
He did almost let you
He's a
crash
crazy
it.
person. All right, so we've got the landing gear on.
Okay.
Oh, I always love it when a plane comes together and it's easy. All right, so prop.
Okay.
I think we should probably put the prop on. All right, so let's go ahead and pull off this nut. And then there's a collar that slides on here almost certainly to give us a perfect fit. Let's see what happens first. I think we need the collar first. Oh yeah. So there is a collar adapter that's in this bag that came with the prop. Camera crew, if you want to move your hand so you can catch that. Slide that onto my shaft.
Sure.
Slide the ring onto my shaft, please.
Not left-handed.
That's all right. It's just one ring on one shaft. That fit is a lot better now, but I gotta say, I'm a little bit tempted to try to get that to go to the front of the prop if it will. So I'm gonna take this, I got it pushed with my fingers just a little bit, and then I'm gonna kind of center it just a hair. See how it's kind of favoring to the front now?
Front.
The reason I do that is just because it's gonna wanna pull itself out anyway eventually, at least in my experience. So we're gonna torque this down somewhat. I do not know if this is going to just squish on there or if it's a jam nut. I think it's gonna act as a jam nut. So this is the spinner. So we are gonna torque that on there. Okay, pretty cool. And we do not have a crescent wrench, but I'm gonna get a crescent wrench. So guys, well, in my case, it's not actually a crescent wrench, it's a sizable wrench. So a sizable wrench is different from a crescent wrench in that it is not made by Crescent. And a crescent wrench is made by Crescent, in case you didn't know that.
Do we have an actual crescent wrench somewhere?
Yes.
We do?
I have a big crescent wrench, a 36-inch crescent wrench.
That one, yeah.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, I think I have a 36-inch. That is a sharp blade, don't get caught. Okay, so torquing that down, I feel comfortable. That looks beautiful. Man, that prop is aggressive.
Yeah, it is.
Ow.
Very.
That is a huge prop for the size of this plane.
For a 4S,
I don't know. That's a huge motor.
the ESC said 2 to 6S when you opened up that little hatch.
Well,
Just
the ESC always says what the ESC says. That does not necessarily mean a whole lot. Just so you know, camera crew.
Well, I know.
Don't give the people bad ideas like you do with me all the time.
I never give you bad ideas.
I am not 100% sure that's not supposed to be in lieu of the nut. Because look at that. To me, it seems like maybe that nut is supposed to be disregarded. And then this, shown from above. See the nut?
Yeah, the space there.
Like if this is supposed to just go instead of it. And the only way I would know to check would be to take off the nut and see if it fits. It's tempting to try, but at the same time, I'm not sure what to do. I don't think I'm gonna miss the extra half an inch of, clearance.
But why would they have put the nut on there if they didn't want you to use it?
Because maybe, that is a good point. But then why didn't they put this on there?
Well, I mean, spinners aren't always on. But if the prop hardware was already on the shaft.
I'm just saying that this would go and then the washer would go. The nut would come out.
I don't know.
I don't know.
We might have to.
We'll pause and check on something. All right, so I'm just curious to see how this is gonna look if I just pop this off, because the truth is, I want you guys to see that there's options here. Since we don't have an instruction manual, we're just gonna throw caution to the wind and test this here, because I think we can probably, well, you could leave it like that for sure. As long as the thing is on there, it's on there, right? I'm gonna go ahead and break this free and we'll see if we can just, there might not be enough thread inside of this to adapt it all the way down.
Okay.
You see, there might not be enough depth. And we just wanna make sure this doesn't freewheel. Spin free.
Right.
Okay, that'd be bad.
That would be bad.
Well, it could be bad. It's really kind of like indifferent still. But it looks a lot cleaner if this is on there, I think. Now, sometimes you can see the screw passing through the hole. And I don't see the screw passing through. Show the people. So you can see my hand behind there. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna go ahead and pass this through. Now, the other thing is sometimes when you're torquing it, it will bite the shaft.
Yeah.
And then you can't get this out. That'll be your telltale sign that it's not designed to go that way. Okay. I don't know, that looks better to me.
Okay. I mean, it's all the way on there. So
That
I
looks
guess.
a lot nicer. And to be honest, like if you don't want the look of this, that's fine. But I just feel like this does it just one notch better.
Okay.
Is it more secure? Probably not. But is it better looking? Yes, it is. So we're gonna go with better looking, okay? All right, so that was a really, really easy build so far. Mm-hmm. We're almost done. Mm-hmm. Okay, you ready? Wing
ready.
1, wing 2.
Okay.
This one, we already have the carbon fiber rod on, or in, so that's gonna come over to your side. But we have to take this thing out first. So this thing's just a thumb nut, so you don't need any special tools for it. If you've never taken a plane apart to take it to the field, then you will probably not have a big appreciation for this. But the thing that's nice about this is that it's actually a 2-piece wing, and the fuselage makes up some of the wingspan too. So you have a lot smaller wing. Look at this.
Right.
It goes between the landing gear and the stabilizer, okay? So even with this in, look, even with this in, it
transport it.
barely goes past the end of the plane.
Yeah.
Okay? So suppose you laid it on top of the landing gear. Look at that. It's all self-contained. That's pretty awesome,
Yeah.
actually.
Instead of
that's-
having a giant, huge, long wingspan.
Like these. Now, I'm not saying that that's a deal breaker for me, by the way. I'd rather have a big plane that's awesome than have a crappy plane that comes apart in 3 pieces.
Right.
So, but if it's a great plane that comes apart in 3 pieces, that's great. I'll take it.
Is that like the never-ending thumb nut?
They're kind of hard to undo. Because the thing is, you don't have as much strength as you would with a regular metallic feature, okay? So, but yes, thanks camera crew for pointing that out. This one here, I need to probably put it in the right way too. There is ample room to get the servo cable. It goes through there, okay? So I'm just gonna slide this in. And virgin time, you know, sometimes it's a little harder to get them started. Make no mistake, that's what we're dealing with now. There it goes, okay? So once you're to the point where this can go in, then this little pin needs to make it into that socket there.
Give me to grab that. I got it.
I'll get it. I want to show the people it can be done without a second set of hands. Because it is really easy, okay? So it's in, amazing fitment, super, super easy. And then ample space to get this in too. Sometimes these things are like the bane of your existence, like you'll hate them if you have them on the wrong plane. And I have a plane, I have an ASH 26 that it's everything I can do to get my hand in there to do this step. And even though it's an absolutely gorgeous plane, and if you ask Ian, a well-trimmed elevator, you don't even need one.
Nope.
Honestly.
I haven't talked about Ian in quite a while. That's a little squeaky.
You have a problem with my squeakiness?
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna let this tip carefully.
Okay.
It slipped off of the edge there. I'm gonna let it run into that just a hair. And you can see the gap is closing as I do this. So ideally you would push that in and then that would make the resistance on the thumb nut a little bit better, or a little bit easier rather. Now you can take this thumb nut out and you can take off the nylon thumb nut and you can make it a metallic nut if you want, or a bolt if you want, but you're gonna have to find the right size, and I have no idea what size it is. So let's talk about the nut zert that's in here real quick. And by the way, some people that get really annoyed with these, they will cut off some length of them.
Oh.
Or they'll sharpen them.
But I mean, like, that's what's holding the wing on.
No, what's holding the wing on is this and this. This holds this against that.
That's it, really.
I mean, it keeps it, I mean, if that happened, yeah. But how often do you have a straight lateral force on a wing?
Right, probably not very often.
Not very often, okay? So if this drives you too much nuts, you can take this and mill down at an angle the first 5 or 6 threads, and you'll have a lot less threads to deal with. I would not do that. I would just live with it. I mean, I'm gonna build it and not take it apart.
Right.
Till we like really have to take it somewhere a long ways away, which doesn't happen often. Okay, so now that's in. Should make it quite a bit easier on this side, because now I can get in there and do the other thumb nut, okay? And remember, we're going up against a carbon fiber piece here, so it's very sturdy. And that's gonna spread the load all the way along this, which is pretty awesome, actually. Well-engineered plane, good job, OMP. Okay, so once this is tightened in, and by the way, it's super easy to do, it's just kind of like in an awkward spot. And I've got big hands, so my hands fit in here just fine.
Yeah.
So, no problemo. Once this is done, then it's built. Like the plane is built. We just have to do radio setup. Yeah. Now you can use 2600 to 5500 4S on this plane. This is a 65-inch wingspan, 1650 millimeters, and it's running on 4S. Now that's a big plane for 4S, okay? And that's a big motor for 4S. So I'm a little bit concerned we're gonna just destroy the pack, but we'll find out here shortly. I mean, we've never had an OMP plane that screws up our batteries yet. They've all been very good. This thing looks fantastic.
It does.
I love the look of it. If I'm gonna, and I'm not a huge fan of sticks, to be honest. That's not my thing usually. But I'm gonna tell you what, this thing looks great. I love this detail.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
Yeah, the livery is very cool.
Very good fitment, very nice finish. I mean, give them shots along there so they can see the ribs.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing feels good. It feels solid and it's light.
It's gonna look great in the air.
It's gotta be several pounds, like 3 or 4 pounds maybe. But thick wing cord, huge prop, powerful power system. I can't wait to see the thing fly. And it's probably gonna do okay in light wind. And guess what? You're gonna probably see it in light wind because we ain't gonna get no calm wind.
Yeah.
So that being said, what's next? We have to do radio setup. So we're gonna pause and get ready for that. All right, so the camera crew reminded me, we gotta mark the CG. We gotta do shelf liner for the battery, and that might involve some China glue. So we're gonna do that next before we even talk about radio setup. So turning on the calipers, the camera crew is gonna tell me the numbers.
88 to 102.
Okay. So I'm gonna go 88 to 102. That's from the leading edge. Okay, so 88. All right, so here's 88. I want to find a rib, make sure I'm on something substantive. Okay. So there's a bump. There's 88. And I'm going to come over here, make sure I got something to press into. 88 as well. To 102.
Yes.
Okay, so 102 millimeters. Now, obviously this plane is going to be very much like 3D capable. It's going to do all the stuff you want, but you don't have to necessarily fly it that way. Okay, I have a good rib. I can pierce into this right here. I don't want to hit a spot that's missing because there won't be anything to catch it. Yeah, so you can see I'm just past where the rib is. So this marking is going to be a little harder to feel, but I'll be able to feel the front one. Okay. I like to mark my center of gravity on the plane where possible. And if I can't mark it, or if I have trouble marking it, I mark where the battery is going to go, because then I can replicate a good starting point. And yeah, once you get used to flying a plane, you'll know where things go. Now, we talked earlier about the battery sizes being 2600 to 5500 4S. This is what we're probably going to start with. We're going to go with 4000 4S. This is a smart pack. It's Gen 1, as you can see. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plop these into the charger right now. And also, if you try to use, that's a 6S. I have one that's 5000 4S. You can see it's got the IC5 connector on it, okay? Well, this uses an XT60, so you'll want to use something with an XT60 or XT60 compatible plug. So in this case, I am using an IC3, okay? Which is going to be compatible with an XT60, at least to a certain extent. Now, you can use adapters if you want, but you won't have to use adapters. But to make this battery sit still, in a balsa wood plane, you don't want them shifting around any more than you do in a foam plane, but you especially don't want them moving around in a balsa wood plane. A lot of times there's room, or it's a very high consequence if it moves, okay? So pop this open, and you can see right here, we've got this like basswood. I don't think that's balsa wood. And we're gonna take and put shelf liner in that area, so we have something to resist the movement as we tighten down the strap, okay? And you're probably thinking to yourself, but what makes you think you're gonna have a problem with it moving? See this, guys? It's just regular shelf liner. You can buy this for like, I don't know, 10, 20 bucks for a gigantic roll that'll do like hundreds and hundreds of planes, or one kitchen.
I am having a hard time finding the stuff that doesn't have holes online to get you guys a link. Like, we found ours at Menards.
At Menards.
But if you want to see just the regular
see
stuff.
This? Look, a little bit of glue. This is China glue. It's made in China by Chinese. The Chinese need to eat too. Okay, so we'll put that on. And then I'll grab that little bit of extra stickum. Yep. And then what I want to do is I want to slide this in. Oh no, get off of my side of my plane, you turd. Oh, son of a gun. Come over here and show them what just happened. I had a big glob. Come over here. Further, further, further. This is part of the reason why I like China glue. It's because I can put something on there and take that off. I'll show you in just a second. But most of what I got, it's stringed up like a spider web. And I'll show you how to fix that here in a second. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just stick that down in the goop. And then if you want this to have the quickest adhesion, you'll do that, and then you'll pull it right back out. And you'll get it away and do one of these so you get all the little strings so it doesn't stick to the side of your plane. That flashlight is blinding me. You're gonna let that sit for a second. And while that sits for a second, I'm gonna show you the trick to clean up what we just did. The trick of the day is to use Kicker. Kicker, or this is Instaset, which is Bob Smith Industries product. It's what you would use if you were trying to set up your CA Quick. Okay, so check this out. I don't know if you guys knew this. Now, I'm not saying there's not other ways to do this, but this is an easy way. Put a little Insta-Set on there. Come over from my left, please. See this? Look at this. Watch this. That stuff will come right off of there. You won't even have to think about it. See, it's coming off perfect. Not even having to scrub it. You see? Beautiful, right? Absolutely gorgeous. And I can't believe that happened in the first place. That's really obnoxious, but what are you gonna do? So then, if you get that done, and you need a little bit more, you can even peel to the backside of the same rag, and you can get that little teeny bit of stickum. See this? Like, what the heck? All those strings. So weird. Hate it when I get sticky stuff all over my plane.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So now that that's cleaned off, we can put this away. Now with China glue, you want to give it just a couple of minutes to set up, and it becomes a contact adhesive. So 2 parts are glued and they stick together and they will basically not come apart. If I were to fold this on itself, it would probably not come apart, okay? Because it's just thin foam. Ew. Don't stick it down until you're where you want to be. So I'm having to fold this in half. Okay, so let that fall down. Now don't overheat your ESC by covering up. Yeah, see, I can barely reposition it. You see what's going on there? Like if I wanted to, I might get lucky and pull it down 1/2 inch, which is what I'm trying to do. Yep. Holy cow, that stuff is stuck. Okay, so now that that's stuck down, now when I put a battery in there, can you step down, please? Now this battery can go in here. I'm gonna undo this. That's not gonna fall. That's awesome. I don't know how they held that up. It must be on the other side of the ESC. Okay, so we can drop this down. Lead's gonna go in first. And just keep in mind, sometimes it is challenging because some of these planes will let you run your battery into the motor, to the actual shaft, the motor shaft.
Oh.
Don't let that happen to yours. This is not exposed on this plane. Okay. So you can have it up against the firewall as far as I'm concerned. My guess is I'm probably too far forward right now. And I have to pull some of this through. Oh, yeah, there it goes. It's gone. Okay, so once I get this situated the first time, I won't need to do that again. But it's down now. And I need to get this moved over because otherwise that ain't gonna stand. That ain't gonna work.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So the easiest way to do this is to actually have it undone. Put my middle finger down so I can guide it around the balsa wood. And then I want to pull this through to me. I could do it with the battery not there, but that'd be too easy for everybody. And I don't want this dropped down too far. I won't be able to do it out in the field. I'm concerned that's a little bit too far down. Move your arms off the plane. So that's not moving now. And that's because of the shelf liner, because of nothing else. The shelf liner makes it stick in position, and that's why we do it. So if you choose not to do shelf liner, that's fine. You can do Velcro. They do provide Velcro with the kit, at least as it came in the plug and play finish level. I'm assuming in the ARF, it will also come that way. Do you want to show them what I'm talking about, please, since you're over there?
What am I showing them? Yeah.
On the table.
Oh, the Velcro.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the Velcro that they provide, so it's fine. And you can apply this to your battery, and then you can apply it inside the plane. Sometimes we put this onto the actual shelf liner, and it works pretty good. Okay, so a couple of these decals, we're gonna put a couple on.
Yeah.
Let's put a Buddy RC sticker on here. I'm gonna put mine here. That's just because I'm gonna put it there, and it's gonna be perfect.
Okay.
Okay, very good. And then I'm gonna put Buddy RC on the other side. We don't usually do decals anymore on these planes, but on this plane in particular, I'm just doing it.
Well, I like with the red plane, the red Buddy RC stickers match. They look nice.
Yeah, they do look nice. And plus we like Buddy RC, so we're gonna put them on. Okay, and then where else are we gonna put some stickers? We got Sunny Sky. We got this OMPHobby.com. This is the EOLO for the prop. how about we do this? How about we see the CG first? We're not gonna plug in the power yet. We'll just put the lead in.
Okay.
We'll check the CG because we gotta flip it upside down. Then we can do some more decals, okay? Obviously we're not plugged in, so I don't have to worry about the prop hitting me in the face. Okay, so on the front hole, it's tail heavy. On the back hole, I would say that's probably about where I want it to start.
Okay.
So that's pretty awesome. So basically up against the firewall to start. We'll see how it feels. Okay, so now on the back side of the wing, I was thinking maybe we can do the OMP along the aileron, but which way would you do it? I don't know.
I would do it this way. So like it's readable to me right now.
Okay.
I think
what I'll do.
Is logical, the most logical.
Like that? Beautiful. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. And then do you want me to do it on the bottom here or flip it over and do it on the top on the other side?
Oh.
Let's rotate it.
Okay.
So then it'll be,
Opposite, so you're still gonna do it over here?
yep.
Okay.
Same thing on this side. And then we'll figure out whatever other one we're gonna do, we'll do on the opposite side, same thing, both sides. Okay, so it looks pretty sweet actually. Nice decals, really high quality. Okay, then the sunny sky is well, that actually would fit. We have a longer one and a shorter one. What do you think on that?
Is there another one that's exactly the same if we're gonna mimic the opposite thing?
Well, we got these little sunny sky ones. And then this, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So I would say, what's this?
I think that's for the ESC, isn't it? Or the,
Well, we're not gonna put this on the aileron. We're gonna put this somewhere else.
okay.
Let's put it right here. Ooh, I didn't get that square. Thing that's kind of nice about these decals too is if you don't like them, they would come off really easy. You could peel them off. And then let's put this guy on both sides because we got 4 of them. We'll just do one on each side, if that's cool with you. There we go. That looks beautiful. And then over here, what are we gonna do? Sunny sky? Which way, do you want sunny sky big up or big down?
I would do big, I would do big up probably.
Okay. Well, you're gonna be further away when you're seeing it from the bottom. And there's nothing on the bottom. So I would normally agree with you, but I'm gonna disagree with you this time.
I mean, that can't really help you.
Let's put it here. Okay, so this sunny sky is gonna go right here. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
At least, that looks pretty sweet actually. And then I'll do the same thing on the top, right?
Yeah, just in the smaller one.
And this is the next bigger one.
Yes.
But it's still smaller because necessarily it's smaller. I keep looking up at that thing, guys, because I don't want to hit it. Show them what I'm looking at.
The light.
We talk about this sometimes off camera. I'm like, camera crew, you have to show them what I'm talking about. You can't just watch me talking about it. That light gets in the way all the time. They're designed to go up and down. There's a counterweight up there.
Yeah.
And I can get up there and move them up and down. It's just that then they kind of just go back to where they feel like anyway.
We've done that like never, so.
We've done it like twice or 3 times actually.
Hardly ever though.
Okay, so then.
I mean, you could put the super long one along the bottom, along the belly, or, I mean like.
Nah. I'm just trying to think if there's another cool spot we could put these. Because we've already got it on the side of the plane. The sunny sky is already printed there. What if we did sunny sky like this? Do you like the dark one or the light one better?
Oh, I don't know.
Let's do this. Let's do sunny sky somewhere up here. Yeah, buddy, right there. That's where it's gonna be.
Okay.
And then we'll do the same thing. See, they sent this dark one separately. I don't know why they did that. Is it the same size?
The same?
It's really dang close.
Looks like it. Is it
I think it
clear?
is the same. It's gotta be really similar. I'm not sure why they've come on separate.
Well, those were the ones that were in the prop bag.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Unless they just assume, oh, maybe that's just because it comes with the prop.
Right, no
Like
matter
if you were
what.
purchasing the prop, you would get that. Okay, then what else? We've only got a couple more.
You don't have to use them all.
No, I know. But it's just kind of like, it dresses up the finish of the plane, which I know. I guess I'm just trying to make it look neat.
Okay.
Looks like some sort of a sponsored plane. Like if it was in a race or something.
Yeah.
Okay. What if we did this? What if we did the OMP sticker along the side? I don't know if that's gonna look good though. The spacing, it'll be all like super busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna use those.
Okay.
All right, that's it. So we were left with a few stickers. We were left with a few zip ties so far. And we got a bunch of extra parts here, which is pretty sweet. I would say I'm really surprised how well this plane went together. It has been like one of the easiest builds we've had in a long time. And by a pretty fair margin, actually. We like easy builds because we build a lot of planes. And that's our spare parts so far.
Okay.
Just pretty awesome to actually have spare parts. Now, given that this is a plug and play, you still have to do the radio setup. We have the CG. You have to provide your own battery, so not trying to pull any punches or anything. That is normal and expected, or should be expected if it's not. And my suggestion to you is, let's talk about the different receivers that we would normally pick from, okay? They've provided a Lemon RX receiver that we can use in this application. And that is something we haven't done for a long time. I'm just not sure I want to gamble because I love this plane. I really like it. I want to see it work with an apples to apples comparison. Hold that thought. Okay, so because this plane doesn't have an inboard flap, you can get away with a 631 with stabilization. So you'd have AS3X Plus and auto leveling, provided you updated your firmware. This happens to be a 631 Plus. Even our old ones had 631 firmware updated, okay? So if you have an old 631, you can still update the firmware to the newer version. Or 637T would be with the 3.1.3. Okay, so that's like a plus as well. In fact, the only thing that's different is the packaging. They flipped this upside down, which is kind of goofy. That being said, this would give you telemetry on the pack, regardless of the pack, but you have to pierce those lines in. And to be honest, I'm not like super worried about this plane because I feel like it's gonna be high power, but it's gonna be good to get back to the ground because both of our batteries have a balance lead. I'll be able to use just a voltage alarm. It's not like an EDF where it's gonna be screaming super high draw, right now power, or you die,
right,
okay?
True.
So that's part of the reason why I would lean toward a 631 on a project like this. Now, that being said, this thing actually has a telemetry device, and this telemetry should pass back through to my NX10. But I'm really wanting to show AS3X Plus, so I'm so torn right now because this is gonna be a high quality choice too, and there's really nothing wrong with it.
And it's going to be a more economical choice if that's what you're after.
Yeah, right. But I'm not sure, like even with the telemetry, it might be pretty close to a 631. So that being said, I'd say in this plane, I am super torn. I got to think about this for a second. Let's talk about the surfaces first. 1, 2, 3, 4, power, 5. No retracts. 20 channels total on the NX10. So we can go way up into La La Land doing all sorts of mixes and stuff that we would not normally need a pluggable channel for, but we don't even need to worry about it. I mean, we got like aileron, elevator, rudder. I mean, there's no reason you do flaperons, you can do spoilerons.
Yeah.
I'll definitely do that on this plane.
Okay, that was my question, because you counted ailerons as 2 channels.
But you should be able to do that on this too, I think. I think we've done it.
Been a long time.
It has. Well, but this is the newer version.
Right.
So that being said, we got to think on this. We'll come right back. All right, so I gave it a little bit of thought. I'm gonna go with the 631 today. I know for some of you, you're gonna be a little annoyed because the Lemon is a good quality option and it's considerably less money. I get it, but I just have had such good luck with the AS3X Plus. I wanna put AS3X Plus in here. I wanna see how it's gonna perform, and maybe we'll use the Lemon on another one or come back and use it on this one. But we will come back to that at some point. For now, we have to start the radio setup, and so it's gonna go like this, 631. Okay, 630 has no antenna. It's a couple bucks less. You can do that if you wanted. We'll link to this obviously in the video description below, as well as the lemon option that was sent with the plane. Okay, so we'll just get this thing out of here. So this is going to be one that's equipped with AS3X Plus off the bat. And just so you know, if you have an older version, like I said earlier, you can upgrade the firmware and basically take advantage of AS3X Plus without too much trouble. It doesn't cost you any money. You just have to upgrade the software if you have a newer version. If you have a really, really old version, then you won't be able to update it. But most of the new stuff in the last couple of years should be fine. Okay, so that being said, this is also a small receiver, and there's a bind button. So you don't have to use a bind plug, but we're gonna be using just 5 of the channels, which should make this a really easy radio setup. That being said, I'm gonna leave this right here. I've got a little bit of glue so we can glue it in, and we're gonna set up a profile. Of course, the profile is going to be how the plane needs to be set up, and we can't really tell where to plug things in until we set up a profile. So I'm gonna turn this away for just a second, and I'm gonna cancel as soon as it comes on. It takes a minute when you got so many models as we do in the transmitter. I'm gonna hit cancel and back and go to add new model. And then I'm gonna create an acro like this, okay? Create. And so this is gonna come up with all the different settings that we have to do to set up AS3X Plus and safe. We'll set up auto leveling and stabilization, which you can also do on the Lemon, just to be clear. It's just not something I'm familiar with, so I don't want to tell you how to do it, especially on a plane that's going to be so good right out of the box. Okay, so model select, we just came from there. Model type we set, model name, this is where we type in the name. And so this is the, what is this, the Fun Stick?
Fun Stick.
Fun Stick 65-inch, and so we'll be right back. All right, so we have the OMP Fun Stick 65-inch, so we'll hit back. Always put the size class, so if you get the next one up or down later. Aircraft type. So we're going to set it as, in my case, I'm going to set up flaperons. You could do dual ailerons if you wanted. If you want to do differential, you can do that without doing flaperons. And then regular tail or normal tail, and then I'll select an image. Actually, the acro might be pretty dang close. I don't see anything else that's going to be
Yeah, it might be
considerably better option. I'll probably just go, yeah, I'll just leave it as the acro. Yeah, the acro is pretty close. Good enough for me. Okay, and then flight mode setup. So this is where we make an assignment to set our flight modes. And what I'm gonna do is go to spoken flight mode. This is where we type in the values. Cancel, cancel. Then I'm gonna type in AS3X. Remember, this is just a label. And this is gonna tell me as an operator when AS3X is on, or if it's off, or if I have safe on. So artificial 3-axis stabilization is AS3X. And then I can scroll way down to the bottom and we'll select the choice and it'll actually say it as well. All right, so AS3X mode. When I flip to this switch setting, it's gonna be off, so I'll cancel, cancel, and then I'll scroll in the word OFF. And then on this one, we are going to, remember, this is just a label. That's the human readable portion. And then there is a word off in here as an audio event. Keep in mind, if you're using an X7E, you're gonna lose audio events, so you won't need the audio event set up for this, but you should still be able to make the name. Okay, so there's off. And then this one is gonna be, I'm gonna use it for safe, for sensor assisted flight envelope. So cancel, cancel, and then I'll start scrolling it in. All right, so sensor assisted flight envelope. Now we'll set the audio event, which is again way at the bottom. All right, here we go. So there's safe mode. Okay, so those are just labels. Channel assign, since we are gonna have flaps, I wanna unassign channel 7 from that because it's gonna be automatically tabulated in, I believe, on channel 6, okay? And then we're gonna have, if we have thrust reverse, which I doubt we do, because I didn't see any cable on there. Okay, so we won't have that. So I'm gonna go unassociate that, and I'm gonna unassociate that because otherwise it'll beep every time I bump it, the levers. Okay, so I'm gonna just walk out of this menu. And we're gonna let things initiate. Okay, then the first thing I'm gonna do is set up throttle cut. I'm gonna go in here, highlight, and choose switch H by exercising it. When I move the stick up, there is no throttle as seen by this number. When I turn it off, then it goes live, and you can see this goes up and down with the throttle stick. I'm gonna turn throttle cut back on. Then I'm gonna set up dual rates in Expo. I'm gonna assign it to switch F. I accidentally scrolled it to switch G. So switch F. I want at the top position, I want 5%, then I want 10%, then I want 20%. This is a starting point. We've got a halving and a doubling. And this is gonna get us up in the air. It's gonna get us there safely. It's gonna give us an opportunity to get back to the ground. So we'll start here. If we want more soft sticks, we'll go here. If we want more sensitive sticks, we'll go here. So you see we're at 100% rates, 100% rates, and then 90% rates. So that reduces the rates and it increases the Expo pretty significantly. We're gonna do that for all 3 of the primary control surfaces. And that's because that's what we have Expo assigned to, is just the 3 primary control surfaces. And then the application of this technology is gonna help make the plane just a lot easier to fly. And my objective, of course, is to make them always as easy as possible so that I can get them to the ground on the maiden flight. If there would be a problem, I should be able to make the change I need and then make that the new normal step. So suppose I was flying along and the elevator was too touchy in this mode. This is where I'm gonna start. I said I want it to be more insensitive. So then I would set this one to 20 and maybe I'd leave the rates at 100. And then I would set this one to 40 and then drop that down maybe a little bit below 90, okay? And then I would set this one to half of what I set the middle to, okay? But for now, we're gonna leave it where it is. That's a good starting point. Flap system is gonna be assigned to switch B, but I'm not gonna make any assignments yet. Or rather, I'm gonna set it to like plus 100, minus 100. Doesn't matter which way, we don't know which direction it's gonna operate. So this is gonna at least get our flaps to go one way or the other. And remember, they're somewhat outboard, so we don't know what direction this needs to be, but I'll just do like 8 and 12, except I wanna set that to 0 for now because I don't want the flaps to overdrive, okay? So I'm in the middle setting on my switch. You can tell by this little box around this position 1. This position, that'd be like my normal flight, takeoff flaps, landing flaps. I'm gonna be in the takeoff flaps, which should be the neutral position. That means the flaps will be like halfway down. And then I'm gonna change the speed to 2 seconds. And of course, we'll have to adjust this once we get the plane set up, okay? No mixing yet, but timer I am gonna set for now 5 minutes with a 1 out or 1 time active. Anything over 25%, we'll start the timer and keep it running. And at 1 minute, I want a voice call out. At 20 seconds, I want nothing. At 10 seconds, I want a countdown with voice and expiration tone and vibrate with a tone every minute thereafter. And now we're set and we're ready to bind. So this is what we're gonna do to bind. We'll go to this and then we'll hit yes. And it's gonna be ready for us. But we have to land all the wires. So now that we have this monitor, we can tell where to plug everything. Or we can walk out, okay, and scroll over 1 to the right. Throttle, right aileron, elevator, rudder, gear, left aileron, okay? So this is what we're gonna do, is we are going to now install this into the plane. So in order to do that, I can just lay this out of the way for now. We need to gain access inside the plane, obviously. And so I kind of tipped it up on its side here, or on its end. Pull this down, pull the lid opened. And then there's just tons of room in here. So it should be like super easy to install. So the first channel is throttle. So throttle is the one that's red, white, and black, okay? This will be right here. They've already done some cable management with tape, it looks like. So I'll just plug this in, and you can tell there's a negative, plus, and an S silk screened on to the receiver. So then one of these is an elevator and one of these is rudder. Looks like channel 2 is supposed to be the right aileron and then elevator and then rudder. So we'll just guess and check. Elevator and rudder, plug and plug. Brown, of course, is negative, and orange is signal. Red is positive for power. And then this one is obviously going to be our right aileron, or excuse me, that'd be a left aileron. Okay, so that's gear I think I just went into, channel 5. Yep, so this one's channel 6 is going to go all the way to the end. And then the right aileron, this one, is going to go to channel 2, which is actually the third set of pins over because we had that bind plug-in programming port at the beginning. Okay, now keep in mind, this is going to be spatially aware. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually quite literally glue that right there. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that right now because I want to get it done while we've got easy access. And you don't have to overcomplicate this. There are some planes that are going to be like, hey, you need to use some foam in there so you don't translate as much vibration back to the receiver. Some people say that you need to do that. I haven't really experienced that in the past. And so I'm not going to say you need to do that, but I am going to go nice and heavy on the glue. You can see I did quite a little bit on this receiver, and I did quite a little bit down there on the board. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this receiver, I'm going to keep my cables bundled up nicely, and I'm going to just drop this very carefully into the pool of schmutz. Okay, and I'm going to just let that sit for a second. And I'm going to kind of rub it around, and then I'm going to pull it off, and I'm going to push it down. Pull it off and 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 leave it. And I'm going to let this tack up for just un momento. Okay, so now you can see it's all stringed up. I'm trying to avoid getting that all over the plane like I did earlier. Stay put. Stay put. Okay, so you can see it's on my hands. Shut that light off, please. And just rub that off. And then we'll let that sit and cook for just a minute. Now we need to bind this thing next, but we're gonna have to give that adhesive just a minute to cook off. We've already checked the CG, we've already established the CG, and we've already confirmed that the battery is in an appropriate spot. But while we let that sit for a minute and just cook off, meaning dry, I'm gonna see if this slides forward at all. It does, just a hair. That'll get us just a touch more nose heavy. So now I can take my marker and I can mark on the lid what we intend to use for a battery. Okay? So I don't know if they can see from the angle you're holding that, where this all sits, but I'm just gonna say right here, I'll just mark it like this with an arrow going that way. And I'm gonna just say 4,000 milliamp hour, 4S. Okay, and that's going to be the direction the wires go. Okay, don't get these things in your skin, by the way, because that's carbon fiber. I'm pretty sure that would hurt.
That would not be good.
So we're going to have to actually plug in the battery too in a minute. So I'm going to leave that battery cavity opened. Now, if you don't like using the more difficult to insert IC3 to XT60, you can actually get adapters that are specifically, purposely designed to help do this. This is actually backward, but you can get one that will go from an EC3 to an XT60. I just have the backward one here. I'm not going to use that. I think I'll be able to get it in there. And if I can't get it in there, then I will go after an adapter. But generically, it's not required. It's just kind of a handy thing to use for some people because I can almost always get them plugged in just fine. The pin size is the same. It's just that there's sometimes like maybe a half a degree difference. So it can sometimes be a little bit tricky to get them started. So this glue, believe it or not, may be about ready. Okay, so it's been about a minute and a half or so. And it doesn't matter if it points forward or if it points backward. We're just gonna point it however it fits. Once I stick this down, oh yeah, that's gonna hold it steady. Now it does need to be spatially aware. So just make sure wherever it goes, it stays put this way, and that way. You don't want it to be rocking because the glue's not quite set, and like overnight it like slides a little bit. So you want to just double check that after a little bit. And since there's only one antenna to deal with here, I can actually drop this down right into this cavity to get it out of the way of everything. And super, super easy, doesn't need to be bound or anything. And I'm totally happy with the way that looks. Now, the next move is we're gonna have to press a bind button, so I don't need to put this in just quite yet, okay? So I'm gonna actually take the plane, I'm gonna lay it up here so that it's in a safe spot. And I'm gonna put this where I can get to it easily as well, and this where I can get to it easily as well, but I want to try to level the plane too a little bit. If I can make this level, that'll make our next few steps a little bit easier. So I can make that kind of level that way, and then that'll get me a nice level attitude the way it's gonna fly, okay? Not the way it's gonna rest on its landing gear. Now you don't have to bind it in this position, it's just that it's a good rule of thumb for me because of the next few steps. I don't wanna forget to do it. All right, in order to plug this in, I have to be in close proximity to this prop, and I don't wanna get cut, okay? So there's a couple things to keep in mind. There are some safeguards on ESCs, electronic speed controls, that will help prevent you from getting cut. But if that fails, you're gonna get cut, okay? So my suggestion is don't trust the plane until the plane proves that it's trustworthy, okay? Or take the prop off, all right? So there's two ways to do this. I'm gonna get this so that I can tell where it would be, so that if this starts, it doesn't go like this and kick and then cut me, okay? So I'm just gonna, and the other thing too is if it doesn't start spinning, then it won't be a problem. I've never had one start, never, okay? So the XT60, just so you can see, it's gonna line up, but it's gonna be tight, okay? So I'm gonna rock this in. Okay, so we're just watching that, it's singing a song. It's saying, I don't have signal, I don't know what to do, okay? That's a good thing. Now back here on the receiver, there's no lights on. So I'm gonna press this button briefly. Now there's a flashing light. Now I am going to, camera crew is gonna come over here so she can be safe. I'm gonna hit cancel or click and scroll down to bind. Then I'm gonna hit yes, bind. I'm gonna control the plane. Now it's auto configuring. Now if you use the 637T, you'll have the battery telemetry as well, so you'll know how much battery you have left as it's flying along. Okay, so here we are. So we're back to this. I don't trust anything yet. Elevator's wrong, ailerons are wrong, and rudder is correct. But the one thing I really care about is throttle cut. So I'm gonna get myself in a safe spot. Now that we're done binding, camera crew, stay back, please. Throttle cut is on, throttle stick is moved up. It did not start, that's what I want. Throttle cut is off, it didn't jump, that's good. There's a little bit of throttle, lots of power. Throttle cut's on. I now trust the plane because I know how it's gonna respond, okay? As soon as I can trust a plane, remember, you're gonna take this to the flying field, you're gonna plug it in, you're not gonna be a big pansy every single time, but you should be a big pansy until you know not to be a big pansy, okay? That's how you keep all your fingers and toes. All right, so we're gonna stick this in here because we don't need to get into the receiver anymore. Magnetically attached and clamped. This thing has already got some of that stuff in my finger. I can feel it.
Shard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I do not like that they've got that there. You know what I'm gonna do right now? Because I don't wanna deal with that ever again. I'm gonna show you guys the trick of the day for this. And it's kind of an annoying thing to have to do, but I'm gonna do it anyway. See this? Mm-hmm. Time for some modification 101. We're gonna basically put a little bit of CA on this. It doesn't need to be a lot. We're just doing 7 or 8 drips down the length of it. This side's going a little smoother. Okay, now remember, I'm not gluing anything to it. I'm just gonna contain all those fibers. Because like I said, I don't want to get shards in my fingers.
Right.
I've already gotten one in there and it hurts. So it's annoying. And I'm gonna get myself a Q-tip, and the Q-tip is going to help me spread that out. And then that's just gonna bond everything in there.
So it can't work itself.
So it won't work itself out.
Like
you
that.
see that nasty one there?
Yep.
And I'm going with the grain and against the grain, both, so that it works it in. And then this also strengthens this piece just a hair, okay? Remember, this isn't a strength thing, this is a, I don't wanna get poked anymore. That was really annoying. Because I was talking about it, trying to be super careful, and I still did it, okay? All right, so now that I've got that spread on there, I'm gonna take my kicker, and my kicker is this stuff, and I don't care how fast this sets, as long as it sets quick, right? So then you can see it chasing down. Don't get in your own light. Probably smells really strong, doesn't it?
A little bit, but it's not too bad.
Okay. So then this is just gonna basically set all that crap right there, right then. And then I don't have to worry at least as much.
Right.
Now, if I was worried about that, because that looks like a plywood with like a carbon fiber inset, which is sort of strange if you ask me, but that's what they wanted to do, so that's what they did. Now I'm gonna take kind of the same thing I was using just a minute ago. I'm just gonna break off any of them that are easy to break off using this. And then if it's not broke off, see, then it's just sacrificial lamb, right? Right, so now any of that stuff that was gonna come off is gonna come off on somebody else's Q-tip and not my finger.
Right.
This is ready to go back in the plane though.
Okay.
Okay, so now, just wanna be careful you don't get a bunch of wet glue that's gonna glue it in. Okay, and then pull this forward. Drop that down. Okay. So we are ready to finish the radio setup. Now, there's a couple of times when you want this thing level, and it's gonna be a bit before we need it level, but I like to have this orientated so that I have the tail pointed toward me, okay? This makes it easier for me to visualize the direction of plane travel, okay? So, elevator is wrong. So we're gonna go into servo setup, we're gonna go to travel, and we're gonna reverse the elevator. Okay, it's reversed. Elevator up, elevator down. Beautiful, quiet servos. Yaw left, yaw right, beautiful. Ailerons are backward. So now we have to rotate right aileron and left aileron. Roll left, roll right. Okay, elevator up, elevator down, yaw left, yaw right. Okay, so they're all going the right direction. Now let's see the direction of takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Look at that, up, down. So I'm gonna just double check we're not binding, and we're not, because it goes sideways. Show them quick. And I didn't increase my travels beyond 100% because that is a lot of throw still, okay? So now what we can do is we can go into our flap system. And then we can go like this. We can go 0. Excuse me, 0. Then we can go, our takeoff flaps will be, let's do 35 and 100. Okay, and then we'll go. Now, here's the thing about outboard flaps. Gosh, my scrolly wheel is being very difficult on me today, okay? This is gonna drop down 8 and then 12%. But because it's an outboard flap, a lot of times it has to go the other way. I am going to set this to nothing and nothing. You wanna know why? Because I don't know which direction it's gonna go. And you're probably thinking, but Brian, you've done this so many times, how do you not know? I don't know because it depends on how far outboard the aileron goes, whether or not it's gonna go one way or the other. Also, look at the ailerons. They're not quite perfectly parked square. This one's down just a hair and that one's down just a hair as well, okay? That's not uncommon. Also, look at the elevator. The elevator looks really good, right on the edge. Get down there so it's flat. Do you see it?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's flat. That's what you're looking for, camera crew. Exactly down the length of it. Okay, rudder. We got a little bit of veer to this side, okay? So there's two ways you can do this. You can mechanically adjust this, but you have to go a full turn. So you'll probably overshoot. So you're probably gonna have to do a little bit of sub trim on this because it's a servo setup, travel, sub trim. So rudder. See, it's going the wrong way. Okay, so go this way. See how that's got us just like square dead nuts right there. That's like perfect. Okay, so 65, okay? You'll notice that doesn't take up our main trim, but it does take up trim, okay? Because there is so many degrees of sweep before you hit stops on a servo. But we're only at 100% plus and 100% minus. We go to 150% plus and 150% minus in the Spectrum world. So that means we got tons more, like you could make this move a lot more. I'm not gonna make it move more. That's tons of throw, It's more than we probably need, okay? So, but I do want to look at the ailerons that are also going to act as flaps, because if you look at this, that's a pretty big droop. I can probably improve upon that. I'm trying to decide if it'd be easier to try to pop off. How would we do that?
You do it mechanically versus...
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to decide. Is it easier to unscrew this and make it go out? Because I can't tell how they have those things popped on there. Because that's a 1.5 millimeter drive. We know that from doing the ones on the tail.
And then you need a 4 millimeter on for the nut driver?
Yes. So a 4 millimeter nut driver and 1.5 millimeter regular driver. I'm gonna try to do this so it's the easiest way possible. And then when I'm done, geez, I'm like trying to stab myself here. Actually redo that. Okay, so this one, that's a weird angle too. Look at that. Mm-hmm. It's going to the inside. I did not like that at all. I'm actually gonna move it to the other side. It's stupid to have it on that side. What's the other one look like? Is it dumb like that too?
The other one is, yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, look, I'm gonna undo this nut. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get it to the correct side, because that should not be like that. I don't know why they did that. Because look at this, watch this. I'll just lay that down. The screw came out, by the way. I'm gonna just go to the outside, just for grins. I'm gonna give this a little bit of a turn. Guess what? Look how perfect that is now. What the heck? It's like somebody did it right and then they did it wrong. Did you see that, hun?
Yeah, I like pretty much fixed it.
It was like, it's perfect now. What the frick? That is so dang close now. Well,
It's closer. It could probably go up just a tiny bit more.
yeah, it might need to go out just a hair more. But the thing about it is, as I torque this down, that's gonna bring it really close to perfection. But there is a little bit of play on there. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm gonna bring this out a handful of turns still. Okay, so that means I need this to come out. Whoops. I need to get a tool to hold that. Otherwise, I'm gonna turn the wrong component.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so needle nose pliers are probably the easiest way to do it. Go to the other side, the front of the plane. You'll be able to see it. So I'm just gonna hold the shaft, and I want this thing to unscrew a little bit, okay? So there's 1/2. There's 2/2. There's 3, oh, I'm going the wrong way. Dang it. I'm gonna just lay that down because it's not making it easier. There's 1/2, there's 2/2, there's 3/2, there's 4/2, there's 5/2. Okay, so let's see how that looks. With the understanding that the nut has to be on the far side, okay? And I want this to be here. Okay, so let's see how that looks. Now remember, all we're doing is we're going for even here, right here. Mm-hmm. You see how perfect that looks?
That's really good.
It's like literally perfect. So my next move is now I have to get this nut started. Once it's started, then I can come in here with the 1.5 and I can come in from the backside and tighten the nut. Okay, so once this torques down, then this aileron will be squared away. A ball link end would be really nice on this 1.5 for this step. This one's just a square, but a ball end would be nice. Okay, so now that's slightly high. Dang it. You see that?
Because when you torqued it down?
Because when I torqued it down, it must have evidently walked it up the control surface just a hair. But look, I just pulled it down just a hair. So I think I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try something to see if this works. I don't know for a fact that this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna back off the nut just a hair. I'm gonna see if I can just quite literally slide this down. I don't think I can. I think I'm gonna just back it off. I'll just undo it. But that's frustrating because that'd make it very difficult. So I gotta bring it in.
Like the smallest amount you can.
Like one turn.
Yeah.
like one turn, one full turn, because I got to go one full turn, okay? All right, so one full turn means I'm going to grab this, and then I'm going to turn it like I'm turning up the volume, one full turn. There's 1/2 of a turn. There's one full turn, okay? And also, you want this to end up 90 degrees of the other one, and it's not right now. It needs to go just a little bit more to get there. Yep, that's 90 degrees, roughly. And yes, there is a certain amount that you can do, and there's a certain amount you're not going to ever do. And so just don't, you know, don't make it too impossible to get this dead nuts, because you can do sub trim on a balsa wood model like this and you'll be fine. A lot of times on foamies, we can get them darn near perfect, but these balsa wood planes have a little bit more imperfection in this arena. It's just the way it goes, no matter how good the build is. And it's not going to translate to much of a control authority issue. You can trim it out in 3 clicks of the trim. How often do you have a plane with 0 clicks of trim? Almost never. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't make a good plane or a bad plane. Okay, that thing looks perfect now. Look how perfect that is.
Yeah.
That's like perfect. I love that action. Beautiful action.
It's really nice.
That is so clean.
Crazy.
I'm super excited for this plane. Okay, so now just carefully flipping to the other side, we have to do the exact same function, except over on the other side. Just be careful, you know, I mean, this thing is alive. It could start flying across your room if you're not careful. And I know a lot of times we have some naysayers that are like, oh yeah, you should leave the prop off and all this. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna leave the prop off because I need the prop on to do all sorts of testing. So if you have any reservations though, please leave it off, okay? So same thing, this one doesn't look as egregious. It looks lined up a lot closer. This one needs to go out, but less. Maybe 2 turns, okay? So the nut is getting unthreaded with a 4mm drive. And then I'm just gonna let this pop out. I wanna see how it looks when I go to the outside. I'm gonna come out. So this is like I'm turning the volume down. It's gonna de-thread. There's 1/2. I wanna just see like how much of an impact that has. It's tough because there's a little bit of slop on this. Yeah, that is so dang close. I'm gonna probably have to go one more because I guarantee you when I tighten it, it's not gonna be enough. Okay, so I'm gonna turn the volume down again. Here's the volume down, 1/2 a more turn, and then 1 full turn and 1/2 down. That means that I'll now be on the outside of the control horn instead of the inside, okay? And I just wanna see. Yeah, we're good still, we're good.
Okay.
That's really, really, really close. I think we're good. And you can sub trim these. These are individual channels, folks. Yep, that's gonna be, ooh. If it's too much, hun, on this one, I'm gonna have to do it with sub trim, I wonder.
Okay.
No, but it's too much. I can already tell it's too much, dang it. How am I gonna fix that?
But if you go back, then it's not gonna be enough,
Yeah, okay.
right?
I'm gonna turn up the volume 1/2 a turn, or one.
Because you gotta go full turns.
There's 1 turn, exactly. Yeah, but going to the outside also changed the dimensions just a little bit. Okay, so I wanna make this 90 degrees now. So I make sure this is at flat and this one needs to be vertical, and it is. So once that's done, we're gonna stick this in the hole. Guys, a lot of the details you see on Brian Phillips RC are pretty obvious to the trained eye, and some of them are unnecessary and a little bit on the overkill side, you might think. But I'm telling you right now, I wanna give you the best crack at success as possible. And so I'm gonna give you all the tips and tricks that I'm gonna personally do to make my plane fly a certain way. And then you can choose to adapt as much of them or as little of them as possible. Come look at how good that looks. Give them a shot. What would you call that?
Yeah, that's pretty.
That's perfection.
Nearly perfect.
That's perfection, yeah. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that with regard to aileron placement.
Right.
And the thing is, I'm not a big fan of having to do that myself, but honestly, I'm gonna give OMP a break on this because that was really close anyway. So 65 out of like 1,000 something parts. I remember that pre-trim, man. There's like tons of tons of steps you can give on that. Okay, so now that we have that done, we're gonna set this back to a level attitude again. as level, as close to flight attitude as we can get. Not landing attitude, not sitting on the ground attitude, but flight attitude, okay? And why do we care about flight attitude now? Well, we care about flight attitude because we're about ready to set the receiver, okay? So right here, so check, double check, triple check. Elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, yaw left, yaw right. Take off flaps and landing flaps, okay? No elevator correction, that'll be changed in flight. Now, we may find that we wanna do spoilers instead of flap rods, and that's fine. We can make that decision on the fly when we do our maiden. Okay, so now we have to set up flap system, forward programming. Forward programming is where we set up our AS3X for the first time, gyro settings, first time setup, blah, blah, blah. Make sure it's all set. Set it level, hit continue. Set it on its nose, hit continue. This is not where it needs to be level, but this is where it senses the position of the receiver, okay? So on its nose.
Do you want me to continue, or you got it?
Continue. That looks great to me. Orientation 1, watch yourself. So now I can lay this back down. And in fact, I'm gonna lay it back down and I'm gonna square it back up to where we were standing so we can see the plane really well and really easily, okay? So over here, all right, so we'll continue. Gain channel set. So it's the rotary knob is what we're gonna use. So it's evidently auxiliary 3, okay? Which I don't remember having set to anything, do you?
That was just the default.
Okay. Apply. Now listen, one dance. You'll notice it when it reboots. One dance. Okay? There'll be 2 dances when we have safe turned on as well, okay? So now everything's working. Elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, yaw left, yaw right. Everything's working. We're gonna click. We're gonna go back into gyro settings, first time safe setup. FM, this is the flight mode channel. Okay, so we have flight mode. We didn't ever make an assignment to a channel now, did we? We just have it set to switch D. Okay, so what we need to do is we're gonna actually hit next, and then we're gonna walk back out, then we're gonna go down to channel. Where is that? System setup, disconnect RF, channel assign. Okay, so any of these top channels we can use for this. Okay, so rotary knob is on channel 8, so I'll just use channel 9 in case somebody's using like, you can either do switch D or you can scroll all the way to the left and then back one to F mode, okay? So that stands for flight mode. So that's on channel 9. So now I can click, scroll down to forward programming. Gosh, my scrolly wheel is being retarded again. See this, guys? If you ever have that happen, usually alcohol cleans this, but I just did that the other day and I'm still having a little bit of trouble with it. So gyro settings, first time safe setup. Or no, wait, I wanna go back into this. AS3X gains, that's at 1X. I'm gonna set it to 4X for now. Gains, flight mode 1, see it's not changing. Flight mode setup. Goodness gracious. See how it says inhibit? That's because I didn't have it set, and that's not what we want. We want aux. We want channel 9, flight mode. See that? So be careful about that. Now look, it changes, and it changes. So in this setting, I want AS3X off. In this setting, I want AS3X on, and in this setting, I want AS3X on. Okay, hit next. Hit back. Now hit back. I don't know why there was another screen for that. Okay, so then AS3X settings, gains. See, now watch. Flight mode 1, flight mode 2, it's off. Flight mode 3, this will be our safe mode, but we don't even have safe turned on yet. Remember, these are just labels so far that you're hearing. First time safe setup. Flight mode setup, it's already set, it populates. Confirm it, hit next. Once it's done, hit continue. I want it to be in flight mode 3, so I'm gonna hit next. Okay, so this is where The plane has to be level, like flight level. And this is pretty dang close. It's maybe not quite level. That's closer to level. Do we have anything laying around? Give me that plastic from this. Yes, that. See this, guys? That's just tall enough. Look what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use this to bring it up just a hair. You know what? Bring me the manual too. I'll stick that under there. Because all I'm trying to do is just get it right at the level I want it to be when it flies. Okay, so yeah, that's close. It's maybe not perfect, but we can make adjustments. So level, model, and capture attitude, and then click. Look at that. Do it again. Whoops. First time safe setup. Continue. Next. Next. Okay, so that's already done. And then I can go to next. Okay, so this is gonna set your limits for your bank angles, but we don't even have safe on. No safe is on, no safe is on, no safe is on, but watch this. Now we can make it, that's auto leveling, okay? And then I want 60, 60, and then I'm gonna set this to 60, and it's just gonna allow us to get into more aggressive pitch, roll, and all that. This plane should be able to recover no problem. And then watch when we go out of that mode, it's off. So there's no limits, so it doesn't even matter. I'm gonna hit next. Now watch the double dance. Apply. Here comes. Okay. So now that that's done, elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, yaw left, yaw right. You'll notice I check that all the time. Throughout the entire process, I always check that as often as possible. Takeoff flaps, roll left, roll right, landing flaps, roll left, roll right, okay? So everything is working. Now gyro settings. We're not gonna do nose wheel setup today because there is no nose wheel. It is physically attached to the rudder, so you can't do that, okay? So, and then flight mode setup. That's channel 3. Active. AS3X active. Off. And then AS3X active along with the other features. Now you can also set up a panic mode, and that's where you would just assign an additional channel, okay? Which is pretty cool. And you can do a throttle to pitch, which I never do, and a low throttle to pitch, which I never do, okay? But like if you're gonna set up panic, you would have to pick a channel and then assign it. And I don't use panic because I don't like panic. It takes control away from you for a longer period than I like. But if you wanted to do it, this is how you would do it. You would turn it on, but there would be settings you have to do for that, okay? So I'm gonna hit next. Hand launch assist is inhibited currently because we aren't gonna use hand launch assist, okay, in this type of plane. But if you turn it on, all that does is as you take off, say you're hand launching, that Viper is one of the first that had that in it. Mm-hmm. Or wait, maybe it was the...
No, it was the Viper, the 64 millimeter.
So when you go full throttle, and then it actually looks at the G load for a second, makes a decision, and automatically pulls up at like 60 or 70 degrees and flies for a few seconds. It works flawlessly. It's really, really nice. It helps save planes. But if you're hand launching this, get ready for hospital visits. Yeah. I would not recommend it. Okay, so now we need to check the direction of travel of all the surfaces in AS3X, okay? So throttle cut is definitely on, which by the way, it won't let you into forward programming without having the low throttle. But throttle cut is also recommended, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pick this up. I'm gonna take it off the plane stand. I'm gonna walk it down here where I've just got a little bit more room to work with. And there is actually, I'll get you back here. There is a little bit more, there's a test menu, and I always miss it. Where is that stupid test menu? We're just gonna put it to 4x gains. Okay, and then fixture adjustable. I want them all adjustable in all of the active modes, okay? And they're all adjustable. And so now what I can do is, under system setup, where is that? Is it under utilities?
Yeah,
no, gyro response test. So it's gonna max out everything, and you don't have to give throttle to start it. So I still have my throttle cut on. Look at that, Holy cow. That's the direction it's moving. you can see as I move it, it's gonna resist the direction, okay? So that is very easy to tell what's going on.
Really easy to tell.
Up, down, up, down. Now look over here. Down, up. And remember, they're separate controls. So you have to look at them.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna go flaps. Takeoff flaps, landing flaps, ailerons. That is nuts. Okay? Okay, so the gyro response test works really
Very
good.
helpful.
Okay. Also, I'm gonna actually come out of that test and I'm gonna turn off my flaps. That was crazy. So I'm already in 4x gain with the knob all the way up. So watch this. Nothing. Throttle cuts off, throttle sticks up, throttle sticks down, throttle cuts on. When I go that way, it goes that way. When I come this way, it goes that way. When I go up, it goes down. See, it's resisting whatever direction I lift it. Same thing with the aileron. Aileron up, aileron down. Aileron up, aileron down. I can see it in my armpit, but you guys, I just want to make sure you see. Full landing flaps. Up, down, up, down. Now remember, your response is going to be less because you have less throws. You're out of throw, okay? Elevator up, elevator down, yaw left, yaw right. Gain all the way up, out of the flaps. Gain all the way down. I'm rotating the rotary knob. All the way down, halfway up, all the way up, off, on, off, safe, off, on, okay? Correct, 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 correct. This will almost certainly overcorrect with an oscillation. But now what I can do is I can go to AS3X settings and I can go down to 4X and I can cut that back to like 1X, okay? So my goal is to have this at about 50%. This will be all the way down, this will be all the way up, about here, somewhere in that range. Then when I fly this plane, I go to the next plane, to the next plane, to the next plane, I tend to be about right from the default. So if I find that I have to have that cranked all the way up, I go to 2X and then I crank it back halfway. If I find that I still need more, I crank it up, I go to 4X and then I have trouble. But I really don't think I've ever had that. I've been to 2X before, but that's the most.
Yeah.
Testing, sometimes we go to 4X and then we'll back it back. Okay, so everything is working and off. So the other thing we need to test is safe. Elevator up, aileron over. Less throws indicates a change in condition. Throttle cut is on. It's been tested. I'm trust it because I'm gonna have my hands right here. Now, look at the elevator. It's trying to find level. Look at the elevator. It's trying to bring it to level. Look at the ailerons. As I roll it over, it's trying to find level. Look, quickest route to level. It's gonna be here versus here. Got it? So AS3X and safe are both working, and I can tell because it's resisting my yaw. Now, off, nothing. Total silence, total my control, okay? So now that we have established all the different directions of travel, we've established that the thing is gorgeous, we've established that the build was very smooth.
Yes.
And we've set up not only AS3X, off, and auto leveling safe. We've also set up throttle cut, master gains. We've set up Expo dual rates for Expo and rates. We've set up flaps and flaperons. We've done all that so that you don't have to figure out from scratch. Now keep in mind, this is not a beginner plane, nor are we making any claims that it's a beginner plane. This is absolutely not a beginner plane. It is way more plane than you need. Now, is it the worst beginner plane? Maybe if you've come back from a hiatus and you used to fly big gassers years ago, I mean, you might be okay with it, but I'm not gonna make that judgment call until I've flown it myself. I can tell you this right now, it looks to be a very high quality plane. It went together really excellently.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's gonna do great, even in light wind conditions to heavy wind conditions. Because when we fly them, we're flying them for the first time that we've ever flown them here on camera for your very eyes and viewing pleasure on Brian Phillips RC. Because at the end of the day, we love doing this and we want you guys to have a great experience. But along with that comes the possibility of failure. We want to give you the best chance at not failing, but also we aren't going to pup you full of we're not gonna blow smoke, okay? This is 100% your responsibility once you get in the air. It is definitely not sub 250. If you wanna be a good boy and girl and you wanna follow the big government agencies rules, you can get a Sky module, or you can get something like this Ruco, which is a remote ID. Or you can fly to FRIA if you're flying for recreational purposes. I don't care what you do. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter what I think. But I'm also not accountable for what you guys do any more than I want our hobby to have a good reputation, and I want the law off our back, okay? Because what we do is a wholesome, family-friendly, very safe activity, even though people get cut all the time doing stupid things, and people do occasionally have issues with lipos. Don't have issues with lipos, don't get cut. Don't get in trouble with the government, make people happy. This is a positive sport, we can all win, and I think we should be doing it. Also, people are gonna fly this plane a lot of different ways. Some people are gonna fly it like a bat out of hell, 3D, barely even flying a circuit with it. They're gonna take off and fly upside down the entire time, or hammerhead the whole time. Have at it, guys. Whatever you love to do, do that thing, okay? Don't let people tell you how you need to fly, okay? That's part of the reason why we do radio control, because we live a life of everybody else telling us what to do. I'm just suggesting that this is an awesome hobby. There's plenty of room in this environment for all of us to have our way. We can enjoy our cake. We can have our cake and eat it too. We don't have to share it with anybody else. Get your own damn cake, okay? So, and by the way, this Buddy RC sticker, did I get this not centered? I'm just noticing it, it's off center. Is it off center?
Yeah,
yes, it is. Son of a biscuit. See, this is what happens when you're stuck in the details all the time, is that you notice crap that you did wrong and it drives you nuts. So Brian Phillips RC is here, and if you have the same problem, leave it in the comments below, because I'm sure many of you do. And a lot of times you'll yank something like this off and then you'll damage something else and you'll say, why did I do that? Oh, I got it, I'm so lucky. That came off perfectly. Yes! I got it right too.
Okay, now don't look too hard at anything else.
That's right. What, do you see something else that's screwed
No,
up?
I'm just...
Okay, so guys, without further ado, we're gonna wrap this up. Unbox build radio setups can be long, tedious, and frustrating, both for us to film and for you to watch. But at the end of the day, we wanna make it less long, frustrating, and tedious of a process. And even if it's a little bit longer following along, we're gonna guarantee a certain level of results because you've seen me fly, okay? If I did something wrong, you'll be able to go back and watch me do it wrong. If we did something right, you're gonna be able to go back and see me do it right. Also, I just wanna double check this real quick while we are re-vetting our work, and look how stiff that is on there. It is not moving.
Right.
Okay?
Good.
So, just a quick 10,000 foot view Cliff's Notes. Beautiful plane, super easy build. Yes, you could do it in a third the time as we did it in this video. But remember, we're trying to help people that are less skilled than you, okay? If you want to help support Brian Phillips RC, #1 way to do it, watch the video, smash the like button, buy stuff from the leaks. We'll link to the plane, we'll link to the receiver used, we'll also link to the receiver that they suggested from Buddy, so if you're buying this from Buddy, you can get the Lemon RX receiver. We have done Lemon RX receivers in the past. We did one a long time ago. Did we do a video about that Flightline P38?
With Mike.
With Mike.
Like a year ago.
It was like a year ago. We actually showed setting it up. It was the same type of receiver, okay? I think we might have set up flaperons. Either way, my point is it's a good receiver. I got nothing bad to say about it. I just have a lot of very good things to say about AS3X Plus, and I can't bring myself to not put it in if I have the ability to do it right now, because this plane is awesome. And that being said, we have for OMP done Lemon receivers before, and I felt like even though it was still a good experience and it would have been great for the people that have like a limited budget, this is not a limited budget plane. This is like a $600 plane, okay? So I don't think the people buying this plane are gonna be worried about the $40 difference in price. And if you are worried about a $40 difference in price, this plane is probably not for you. It's expensive, okay? Make the most of it, okay? Take advantage of the technology. If you have a Spectrum transmitter, you'll love it. If you don't, and you wanna do it like with some OpenTX transmitter, where you don't have access to Ford program or something like that, that's fine. The Lemon RX is a great choice for you, okay? And seriously, all joking aside, I'm not trying to pick on anybody. We like Lemon RX. The guy that works on that stuff is brilliant. Way smarter than me. He's like up at 100,000 feet and I'm like flying at like 10 feet, okay? So NX10 has been good. Obviously the scrolly wheel has been coming to be a bit of an issue for us lately. We've cleaned it a number of times with alcohol. It's helped, but it doesn't always stick for too long. I gotta get with Spectrum, ask them if there's some other trick up their sleeve. But otherwise, love this transmitter. We have literally hundreds and hundreds of planes in here, and it has worked flawlessly. We've never had a lost radio signal ever. No. So the only thing we have in terms of complaints on this is the scrolly wheel eventually, and that's because we scroll to change our stupid audio events. Which, by the way, throttle cuts on.
Safe mode off. AS3X.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. If you guys wanted, you could make a template and have that always set up every time you start a new model.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to do it my way. We're just trying to teach others how to do it. So we're assuming that you've watched for the first time and this is your first video, okay? Other ways to support us, YouTube super thanks, one-time donations through PayPal. Remember, we're friends and family, or monthly support on Patreon or YouTube members. Mm-hmm. We appreciate you guys all, no matter how you support us, as a thumbs up, watching, buying a full plane like this from the links in the video description below, where we make small commissions from the companies we work with. Remember, I don't care if you buy this one, or if you buy a competitive offering, or if you buy a competitive offering, or you buy a helicopter, or you buy a competitive offering. It doesn't matter to me what you buy. What matters to me is that you keep coming back for more content, and you get into the hobby, and you get better at it, and you find success, okay? Because all of those things, we all win together. Even if maybe you pass on this plane and you go to this F7F, or you pass on this plane and you buy this Waco, awesome ultra micro, okay? Or maybe you pass on this plane and you buy this MD500. Considerably less money, awesome experience, super fun. Everybody's in different places on their RC experience. We want to meet you exactly where you are as best we can, okay? That being said, we're going to show how to get the most out of this that we can within reason. We're not going to completely redesign the plane. Some people do that, and that's totally fine. But we're not those people, okay? There used to be a time where we would add flaps and LEDs to just about everything we did. I got sick and tired of doing it, and now I just add flaperons, and I live without LEDs, which I just noticed there are no LEDs on this. Price point, probably should be LEDs, but whatever. What are you going to do? It's a beautiful plane. I'm not going to fly it in the dark. At least myself. All right, that being said, there's content right around that corner, lots of it. And we can't wait to film it for you, and we hope you'll be back. But on the way out, don't forget to smash the like button. Let us know how you felt about the footage down below in the comments. If you notice something that we should be doing that we haven't yet done, let us know in the comments below, and we'll either give you an explanation of why we haven't done it yet, or when we're gonna do it, or yes, we agree, we'll get it on the agenda, okay? Mm-hmm. And also, if you have questions about this build, let us know. By the time you see this, we will have already flown it, and we will have answers to these questions. So, Buddy RC, good job. OMP Hobby, great job. Love this plane, looks amazing. I think it's gonna be another trendsetter, just like the previous really good OMP options. By the way, if you want to see other planes that we've reviewed from OMP, all you have to do is look no further than bprc.me. That's our website, brianphillipsrc.com, the short link for which is bprc.me, so you don't have to spell my name and do it wrong, okay? You can go there right now. You can sort by type or by brand, affiliate, relationship, okay? In our case, this would be either Buddy RC or OMP Hobby.
It's under Buddy RC.
And you'll be able to find this compared to other competitive offerings that they also sell. Or maybe you want to buy some China glue or some foam to foam. It doesn't matter what you need, we're going to help you find it because we have supplies tab right there ready to go. Whether or not it blows or not, we've got it for you waiting when you're ready, and we'll meet you right there. So stay tuned, right around the corner. So much coming from Brian Phillips RC. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.